Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Picklebear podcast. We're back. We don't have River, sadly, but we have Connor and Hunter together. An unforeseen combination. Brooke has a helmet. That's my helmet. He's trying to adjust it. So, Brooke, you are an hour and a half late to this recording session.
No
What say you?
excuses.
Yes. Did you see the fish I sent?
Yes, I saw the
That was
fish
a big
you
ass
sent.
striper. It was a 27-incher. I was like,
I'll show you. Never mind.
you can show me a 27-incher right now.
No.
Right now. No, that thing. He was fighting. I didn't even know he was on though. Like the way you fish is you have a planer board out, right? And it holds it. The idea of it is it sets on the side.
Let me explain how you fish real quick.
We're trolling, right? We're trolling for it. So you just drive your boat
We're
down.
trolling?
We're doing a little bit of trolling.
So like,
Okay.
you drive down the lake with like rods hanging out the back, like running bait, and we have a planer board that sets out like 25 feet to the one side of the boat.
Yeah, why'd you say that with an accent though? Why'd you say trolling?
What, trolling?
Trawling.
Trawling.
Isn't that what it's called? Isn't it trolling? TRAW?
No,
Troll?
no,
Let the man do a little bit of trolling, okay?
It's
Okay.
actually trolling.
Okay.
Maybe it is trolling.
Pretty sure it's trolling, but
It's the same thing. We call it trolling.
it's trolling.
But anyways, we pulled it, and the rod's bending like real bad, and I'm like, I don't think there's anything on it. So I grabbed it, and I was winding it in because it wasn't working right. And then I realized after I pulled the planer board out, and I'm like, no, there's a massive fish on the other end of this rod. So I wheeled it in. That's all.
Riveting tale.
Yeah, it was pretty riveting. But on
Is
the
there a
way
sequel
here,
to
I
this
was
tale?
What?
Is there a sequel to this tale? I want
Um,
more.
Yeah. Then the same thing happened a little later, but we pulled in a lake trout.
No way.
Yeah, and we're like, my dad's like, yeah, we're gonna put that in the pond. So we're like on our way back in, and then I hear like this, like I hear my dad like fishing or like messing around in the front of the boat. Then I hear a splash, and I'm like, what'd you just throw in the water? And he goes, oh, the lake trout. And I'm like, you said we were bringing that home with us, and he goes, oh shit, I forgot.
Oh my god.
He threw it the whole way in the water without realizing he was gonna bring it home with him. Yeah. But anyways, the fish was fine, and then we left. But on the way here, then, I was listening to my typical 80s sound playlist for my truck, well, for my car, really. But I'm, like, driving in, and then I realized something. I'm like, after the 80s, music went downhill so bad. Like, I was listening to Van Halen, and I'm like, dang, like, this stuff's some of the best music ever made. Like, I was listening to Jump. Like, some of the parts in that song with, like, the synthesizers is just amazing. You guys agree?
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that song.
Yeah, but do you agree that like music has gone downhill since?
You
the
ain't
80s?
no shit.
I don't know.
I feel like
You see, Negative XP did not exist in the 80s,
Well,
and he's
and-
clearly the most important artist of our generation.
I can't do that anymore. The bump helmet.
the
is
only
coming
the only music you're gonna remember from like a time period is like the best stuff. All the other stuff is forgotten because nobody really cares about it.
like the Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
Or what does the fox say?
Dude, that song was like huge. It's like it makes me feel my age.
What about Gangnam Style? Everyone remembers Gangnam Style.
hate that song.
Gangnam Style's gonna turn 10 years old next year.
I think that
Or the
guy,
music video will
Dude,
at least.
threatened
in
to kill
40
Americans.
years, 30, 40 years, people are going to be like, you got to listen to this classic. It's called Gangnam Style. It's so good.
That's the thing. Like those classics aren't like these aren't complex This isn't complex music. You know what I mean? Like it's all like real simple stuff. So I don't know if
pop
it's gonna.
music is usually very simple in structure.
Yeah, but like you listen to like some of the like the leads and stuff of like popular songs from like the 80s, like there's just depth to the song. But like nowadays, it's like it doesn't seem to be as like the amount of depth. Like even like In the Air Tonight, would you say that's a complex song?
No.
Like, but there's depth to it.
But
you
you're
know?
comparing the best songs of an era to the worst songs of an era.
Well, what do you think the best song of say the 2000s was?
Dude, I don't know.
Watch me
Caramel
whip.
dancing.
Now watch me nay nay.
Wait, what's caramel dancing?
Oh my. I'm not going to explain it to you.
I wouldn't like it, would I?
No, you would love it.
Really?
You would love it.
Let's see, for like the 2000s, I would say the best song had to be like some of the stuff that came. You guys remember Fun, right? Like they did
Yeah.
Some Nights and We Are Young.
I only remember those few songs from the beginning of that album.
Yeah, that was like their only album though. They released
No,
like
they
two.
released more than that.
Oh, there's like 2, but then they like disbanded. Because I was gonna get the other one, but I'm too cheap. But like, We Are Young is amazing. That's like an awesome song.
I think most of the best music of the 2000s was like revival stuff, like the White Stripes or the Strokes, which was like 60s rock revival. Although the Strokes' new album, I would say, is their best.
Why are you like this, Hunter?
Wasn't me, that was you.
Shut up.
Okay.
There's no video proof, so
So
the banjo's beside you, Connor.
That's just not true.
yeah, but
I'm
there's
more
no
belie-
evidence.
I'm a more
supporting you.
I know.
believable person. All you have here is sound.
Okay.
So
I
Do you want to go to the list?
I
yeah, let's hit the
strummed-
list. Let's see
I
what,
strummed the
what topics
banjo.
do we have today.
So we said
And-
Dyatlov Pass, and I actually made a discovery. I misheard Wendigoon. He was not talking about Dyatlov Pass. He was talking about the Kamar Duban Pass, which was when, I don't know, it's a different pass in
Which
Kazakhstan.
one was
I guess.
Dyatlov Pass?
Dyatlov Pass was whenever 9 people, like,
9 Russian hikers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one with the lights in the sky.
that was
and then
whenever they found
Radiation.
their tents cut through.
Yeah.
I heard about that again yesterday. I heard, didn't the Russian government, not the Soviets, say that it was an avalanche that killed them?
Yeah, we've heard that a lot. But, like,
I'm
an
not-
avalanche wouldn't purposefully cut through their
I don't know if
tents.
they said it was an avalanche, though. I think that
Well-
they've ruled they either put it as an avalanche or they put it as
I saw
unknown.
an
The
article
the
about
Soviets
how
put it as unknown natural.
Oh, is that what they?
But then it went into review again under Russian government. I don't know when.
I read an article about how the animators for the movie Frozen used their whatever CGI program to recreate an avalanche, and they were like, "Yep, that was an avalanche." I'm not even joking.
That was how they.
That's how they said it
They're
was an
like,
avalanche.
Frozen's pretty realistic, so
Yeah,
I think that's.
but that doesn't explain like most of the story.
Oh well, like here's the things you got to factor in. There's weird. The last photograph that they took was of the last couple photographs. Are
Was
pretty
that weird figure off in the distance?
There was the weird figure photograph. They said,
I've never
"Oh,
seen
well,
the
that
weird
was."
figure photograph.
Oh, did you never see it?
No.
I had it
Pull
pulled
that
up
up.
here.
Pull that up.
I've only heard it. I've never seen anything.
Yeah, I read a little bit about it like a while ago. I don't remember.
Brooke explained this
exactly all
around
the
one of our
details.
campfires.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, like
That's
this
where I
stuff
first
is
heard
freaky. But you have to look up mysterious figure afterward. It might come up then.
Oh boy, because then we won't get biased results if we look that up.
yeah, but it was
There's
the
going
second
to be
to
a big
last
red
photograph.
circle.
Real?
Right
real?
there it is.
Real.
This one.
No way. No, that's a real picture.
No, that
I
is
can't
real.
really
That
see it from
actually-
It's a
here.
real picture.
That was see the Russian government was hiding that photo up until recently. Actually.
No, I don't believe it. There's
don't
no
believe
way.
that?
Mm-mm.
You don't
No.
believe the Soviets would hide something?
Legit. They just had recently released that because I remember watching this documentary. It wasn't on the History Channel. It might have been the Discovery Channel, but they talked about how it was about that, and it was like these Bigfoot guys, and they were like, "Yeah, this photo newly released by the Russian government proves that the Yeti killed them. It was a radioactive Yeti with heat vision, which like hurt them."
I don't
No,
know about
made
He hurt
radioactive
them.
Yeti.
He did more than
but-
hurt them. He gouged their eyes out and left radioactive
tongue out?
piss on them.
Yeah,
I mean, how close are those mountains to the?
Himalayans.
Yeah,
It's no, it would be the opposite end
No,
of Russia.
Russia's not even
I know, I'm
touching
just
the
asking
Himalaya.
how far away.
I have no
mountains.
idea. It's up north in Siberia, though. But the thing is, that's weird. There was the photograph, but then the next photograph looks like lights in the sky, but it looks like a lens. It's a weird, very strange photo. It was the last photo taken, but there's a lot of different stuff that people say it could be. Really interesting, though, because, like, yeah, if you look up last photo, it might show up. Yeah, that's it right there.
This.
Yeah, that was the
That could be
last
anything.
photo.
It's
could be
two
so
white
many
spots. It's literally two white
That's
spots.
a ghost orb
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
the problem. They say that might be like a light in the sky that they were trying to take a picture of because they're not really sure what else it could be.
Well, you have to think about when this was. This
It's-
is what this was 1959, so they would be using analog cameras, so they would have a limited amount of pictures they can take. They wouldn't just take pictures of absolutely nothing. If they saw They would have had to see something to take up that picture.
Yes.
It obviously didn't come out well.
Well, they said that photo had to have been taken that night because if you look at like the weather patterns in the other photos, like it lines up perfectly with the weather happening throughout the time. But then that had to have been taken that night because there was a photo taken right before then that would have been that day because they wrote about it in their journals too. That's the thing. They wrote it up to that night in the journals, if I'm not mistaken. But then that night, what happened then is unknown but there was the one guy they found in the creek bed months later. He was found with like a pencil and piece of paper, but he had died of hypothermia before he could write anything.
Was that the one where they found people like climbed up trees? And
No,
there's some.
no, that's a so.
No,
That's
I'm
something
pretty
else?
sure that was the same one.
I think
Yeah,
those are
he
the same
said the
ones.
same stuff.
Three different groups of people, pretty much. A couple of them were on the hill trying to make their way back up to camp, and they had froze to death on their way. They were missing a lot of clothing. There's another group down by the tree that had tried to climb the tree.
Isn't there a thing that as you start to succumb to hypothermia, you start to feel really, really hot, and then you start taking all your clothes
That
off?
sounds right.
That is true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, these guys were very experienced hikers. So even if we say, well, they were probably in the wrong state of mind when they were down the bottom, we know that the camp was still intact until they cut into it. So the question is, why did they leave the camp in the first place? Because the stove in there was even set up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That's even the other story that I got this confused with, the Kumar Debon Pass. Both of these were very experienced groups of people that like wouldn't be making mistakes like that
Yeah.
if it was just down to error.
Well, going back to the groups that were dead, the second group, they found them below a tree. Now, one of them had like splinters all through their hand, like they were climbing up the tree, and they were cutting themselves really badly doing it. And the branches were broken off as you go up the tree. So it was evidence of at least one person tried to climb the tree. There's a pile of sticks in the bottom, like they were trying to start a fire to warm up. And then the third group they were found in the creek bed. Now these are the ones that like their eyes were removed. Their
Wait a
tongue
second.
Yeah.
How can you both climb a tree and try to make a fire?
Well, it looked like they tried to climb the tree, but then like they hurt
Or
themselves.
did they just break the branches off of the tree to build a fire?
I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
That-
saying
that's
what like
kinda-
was written down about it. 'cause,
What
like,
you
All right.
said initially was that it seemed like something was chasing them, or your theory was that something was chasing them and they tried to get up the tree to escape.
yeah, that's what it
And
looks
then
like. Yeah.
where I thought afterwards is like after it left, they were like, okay, now we need to warm up.
Yeah, that's a big. Yeah, I
That's
don't
the
know.
timeline I would
Honestly,
follow.
what it even might have been was like say like it was the Russian government that tried to kill them. You know, like these were Russian soldiers trying to like take them out because they saw something they shouldn't have. So they go in, say that the Russians were there, and they open the door of the camp. In order to get out of the tent right away, they cut it open and take off running. The soldiers chase after them down the hill, and because it's in a blizzard, they lose sight of them. Well, while they're there, they're hardly any clothing. So say like a couple of them decide to walk back up the hill to try getting back to camp to get some clothing, you know, because they know they're going to die, and the soldiers find them there and get a hold of them. Or say like maybe they saw the soldiers coming down the hill, so they tried climbing the tree right away or something. You know, they were trying to make a fire to warm up, maybe even. But then the ones in the creek bed, maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell. You know, there's so many weird things. So people in the creek bed were the weirdest ones because those are the ones that their eyes were removed and the tongue was removed on one of the victims. And the thing is, people say, oh, well, it was probably a wild animal that took the tongue out while they were decomposing laying there. But the thing is, there's blood found in their stomach during the autopsy. And for that to happen, the person had to have been alive when their tongue was removed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no
'Cause-
animal would like surgically remove the tongue and eyes like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that doesn't make any sense. Why?
And if it was the government, why would they go after only that group to do that too? If it was the government, why would they climb the tree to try to escape them?
That's the thing. None of it makes sense. And they didn't find any footprints near the site. You know, there are people with radiation found on their clothing that like died there. So like you look at all that, when all the evidence is compiled, it's like none of it makes sense. Like it's just so far fetched in every single way. And normally the way you got to look at it what makes the most amount of sense with making the least amount of assumptions, you know? Like, what's the most simplest logical answer to what happened? There isn't any. That's the problem. Because you have to push the truth no matter which way you look at it. Would you agree, Connor?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a situation with no clear solution to it. So, yeah, it's exactly what you said.
Now,
I would jump to government agents before I'd go to a blizzard,
Well,
though.
I would also have to say, like, this is the Soviet Union. You cannot trust, like, anything the Soviet Union says. You can't trust anything that comes out of the Soviet Union. We have to really think about how much of what is said is actually true or what is just rumor, right? Or is government propaganda.
here's another idea. What if, say, they died because of, like, maybe it was a chemical weapon test up in the mountains or something?
That is what I think is probably the most likely answer.
The soldiers found them there. They were dead already because of the explosion or whatever. So what they did was they took the bodies and moved them into these strange positions so you couldn't explain it by conventional means. So it would become a mystery, and you can't explain that, you know?
So the Soviets just trying to make it appear like something supernatural.
Yeah. I mean,
But
when you
weren't the
think about it, it would
Soviets-
make
Did they
perfect sense
test?
why to.
They test weapons in Siberia.
All the time, yeah.
I thought they tested them on those weird northern islands they had up above Russia.
So, like, the
What were
same
they
area
called?
as Siberia.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Not the island. I know what
It's-
you're talking
it's
Well,
about.
this was
not-
back during
no,
the...
it's around the area where they test the
The Tsar Bomba.
Yeah, that's the place I'm thinking of.
Weren't the Soviets like trying to get rid of religion and create a sort of
Yeah,
atheist
no,
society?
they were.
Yes.
They were.
That's what I was. If they were trying to create an atheist society, why would they go to these supernatural looking events?
Well, I'll also put this in. There was confirmed sightings of unidentified flying objects in the area.
so
lights.
like a
That
rocket.
could be anything in the Soviet Union.
That's the thing.
though.
It could be anything, but there were lights in the sky seen by people all over that night. And the way the lights were positioned, they were over Dyatlov Pass. Like, so it could be anything from vengeful mountain spirits down to UFOs to government agents, you
Yeah.
know.
There's
I
three
doubt it was
options here,
Yeti.
and there's one of them which I think might be more believable than the other two.
Which one?
Government agents.
Yeah, that's true.
While we're on the topic of, like, unexplained disappearances and stuff, I believe it was during the Winter War with the Finns. There was a similar incident to this, and I can't remember exactly all the details, but
Apple.
I'm trying to tell a story. Shut up.
You ever want to cover a microphone in caramel and just like
No,
like
no,
it
shut up.
issue?
I'm telling a story.
We should try that sometime.
Yeah, so essentially, there were some Soviet soldiers, and they're obviously like their invasion of Finland. And the story goes that they walk into this town and they're camping like outside the town. And one of the women of the town goes out and says, "All right, you can't be here. It's just not going to go well for you if you're here." And essentially, the Soviet soldiers like, yeah, you're gay, and they stayed there anyways. And so essentially, the next day they come in. I'll have to try and look this up because I'm mixing up a lot of the details.
Do you know what? Do you have like a general name for the event?
Yeah, look up Finnish, Winter War Finnish, Soviet massacre or something.
The whole Winter War was a Soviet massacre.
That's true, but
We'll continue.
essentially, yeah. So in the morning they find that these bodies are either mutilated or completely gone. And
Wait. What do you mean the bodies are completely gone? Like,
just gone.
so they just walk in.
They
There's
just
a mutilated
vanished.
body, and they're like, "Oh, the other ones are just gone." Like they assume they were bodies.
No, like they. I can't remember which one it was. I don't remember whether the bodies were like in pieces and there was blood, or whether they just vanished and disappeared. And I remember that there were footprints, and I believe there was rifle fire involved as well.
Did you find that?
No, I didn't find
I'm
anything. I was just pulling up the
speaking
next
very
thing.
Oh,
vaguely.
okay.
I'll have to look this up and
Yeah, I'll
try
do
to remember to
some
see
research
what it
into
was.
that.
Well, honestly, there's another one. I can't remember. I think it was something. It was a pass incident. It's always
Anyway,
something
where
with
I was going
passes.
with this was this entire incident was basically like it's a myth. It was all a myth that was concocted after the war, and it never actually happened.
Oh, okay.
That's where I was going with this whole.
It's like the something 5. The
Maroon
Jackson
5?
Five.
No. Look up America's Dyatlov Pass.
The Donner Party?
Yukon. No, it's different.
The Donner Party has a set explanation
It's like
for what
the
happens.
Yukon 5 or something.
Yuba County 5.
Yuba County 5. See, this is another interesting one.
Oh, I've
So-
heard of this one.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, this is wild though. Like these guys were supposed to go to like a concert or something.
A basketball game.
It was a basketball game. So like they all got ready, got into their car and drove up. Well, they couldn't find them anywhere, and they had spotted them in town. But they find them in the middle. Like they search for like a couple weeks, and they find their car like parked up in the mountains. And they search for like another couple months, can't find them. And then eventually they come across this guy's like hunting cabin up in the woods, and they find one guy in there like undressed, dead of hypothermia, laying on the table. But the messed up part was he obviously starved to death because he had lost like 50 pounds while he was up there. Like he must have lived up there for weeks and froze to death eventually. But the cabin was full of propane and food, like MREs.
Accessories.
Yeah, but like legit. He like if he walked into this shed that was unlocked and everything, he could have had enough fuel and food to get him through the entire week or the entire winter easily. But he didn't use any of it, and he just died there laying on a table. So like that guy died there. They found another couple guys like in the woods dead, and then they eventually found. Or I don't think they ever found the last guy. I can't remember for sure, but it was so messed up, like this story, and it's like there's no reason for them to even be up there.
It doesn't say he was naked here. It just says he was missing his shoes,
Oh, he was missing his shoes. Then that's what
That's
it was.
naked enough.
which is very specific.
You know, I like to hear the stories about that one guy, or maybe I think it's a collective of people who say they've killed multiple reptilian, human shifting aliens. Like they'll wake up in the middle of the night and there'll just be aliens, like lizard people, at the end of their bed. They claim
That's
they
terrifying.
claim they kill them all the time.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've killed like at least 7 reptiles at the foot of my bed.
Stardust.
Yeah,
Stardust
they're on this
Ranch.
big yellow thing on the road that says school bus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's some kind of alien script or
Yeah.
something. It's probably some invasion craft.
That's Stardust Ranch. I think it's Stardust Ranch. It
Yeah,
might
I
be
was thinking
Stardew
of that,
Ranch. That's the
too.
one you thought of?
No, it wasn't like that guy's story is pretty much the same as what I've heard.
Yeah, but like he was
But-
so like he's there and like there's all these grays keep showing up at his house and he's like, "Yo, my house must be like an interdimensional bus stop or something." So like he's there and he's
It's
like,
the exit of the
I woke
universal
up one
highway.
night and I just like jumped up and killed one with my bare hands.
Yeah.
And he's like, but the thing is, they just like turn into this goo and disappear. Like then the goo evaporates right there, and there's no
No, that's
evidence that they
XP.
exist.
That's just XP.
Yeah, it's like experience points. But he's like, then I was like, I can't take these things anymore. So we went to the store and bought an AK-47 and like kept it beside his bed. And one night, like he woke up and his wife was out of bed and he looks out the window and there she is floating up into a spaceship. So he grabs his AK, runs down the steps and starts spraying into the alien craft. Well, the craft eventually drops her and he like falls asleep in the yard and they wake back up in their bed. And he's like, whoa.
Honey, did you see that?
So
Get
like,
on your meds.
so eventually he's like, I can't keep using this AK because it keeps shooting holes all through the house. So he switches, he switches over and starts using a katana.
That is a common problem with me. I hate whenever my firearm is too powerful. I'm gonna use a Japanese sword that
He's
was
like,
barely ever used.
he's like, honey, I'm gonna have a stray bullet kill the baby in the crib across the room. I gotta use a katana instead.
For precision.
Precision. Yeah, but like then he's like, he had like this professor. He sent samples because eventually he realized if he like took off the antenna of the alien, they wouldn't disappear. So like he like sent like samples of one, to a doctor at this university, and I guess the doctor at the university died, and he was like, yeah, the samples went missing too after he died. So it's like he's convinced that the government's covering up his alien
His
killings.
awesome katana slaying alien killings.
Yeah.
It's like kitten. I can't keep shooting these holes through a house.
Sounds
I
like a
gotta become
movie.
a Discord edgelord and use a katana from Japan.
These damn grays,
He's
they
in
won't.
BC. Oh, sorry, cutting the grazer back. I'll be back.
Could you
He mutes
imagine being
himself.
in voice chat and some guy like just gets out of his sweaty gamer chair and starts slicing aliens in half?
He's like, damn it, the grays are back.
There's goo all over
What are they
my
trying to sell
room.
me this time?
Is that guy still alive?
Oh yeah, that guy, dude. This happens.
Where's he
He
at?
can't
Still.
die.
Look
Where-
up Stardust Ranch.
Where's this guy at? How can I talk to him?
I don't know. We could probably get him on here, honestly. Like, you guys ever listen to the Bro Ohio podcast?
Was he on there?
He was on there.
Where's he live?
I don't know. I don't even know where the ranch is at.
Like, look, I heard they're doing a new Skinwalker Ranch documentary.
they
by the
are,
way,
and that's a
on
very
History Channel.
interesting one. Like, people are like, "Oh, they don't find anything," and it's like, no, they're finding like weird magnetic, like
Magnetic metal and stuff.
yeah, and they go out like, no, it's magnetic, like a magnetic field around the ranch. They're picking up on like with their equipment, and then they also found out.
So like the Earth.
Well, it's different. It's like a different.
No way.
It's unique just around the ranch. They found that like it sets
So,
off.
like-
conversation.
Is it
the
out
ranch was
already?
So
selling
like
for
a
$5
deposit of
million.
iron.
You could have owned that ranch for $5 million.
If this is the right one in Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, yeah, I know. Here's
it's kinda
I've heard
far
of this, and they always talk about how they've. Oh yeah, we've seen aliens here. We've got weird occurrences here on this ranch. Yada yada yada. Let's sell it for $5 million. Do you really believe that they actually saw like aliens and?
I have gremlins in my house. That thing would go for at least $3 million.
Yeah, no, you can. I think I'd buy it.
Yeah. If you,
Are you serious right now? Like you actually believe you have gremlins in your house?
see,
or are
you
saying
have to
that
think
like,
of
No,
this way.
every
don't
time every time at night though, like I walk past the basement and it's like everything's medium dark. I could see around the house, but
Medium
it's like
dark.
it's like dark. It's like hard dark.
It's like,
It's,
yes, can I
it's,
have my
it's
steak
hard dark
medium
at the
dark?
end of the basement.
It
so
is
I
a
always,
basement.
I always think like no, but it's not the basement. It's like the bottom of the stairs, and like it's in our living room. And I always think there's some shit looking at me down there. So I flipped it off a few times, like probably
Wait,
just a
with your
wall.
finger? Not
Yes,
like the lights?
yes. I just like I like look at it with
Why
like a
you-
face. Like if there is a ghost there, like if there's not a ghost there, no one can see me. Now I don't look like an idiot.
That's a
But
good
if there
point.
is a ghost there, he knows I'm not. He's
Every-
not welcome.
Everybody has
I'm
that
not
one
messing
room.
around.
Everybody
You
has
don't
that
walk
one room in
around
their
your house with a
though, you know
pistol at
that?
night.
What?
Do you have like one room in your house that like at night, like when it's pitch black and you're alone, that you're scared to walk by? Like you're like you walk by and you
No.
always.
That's
double
just
glance at it.
natural. You know,
Yeah,
there's like hidden
it's-
natural
No.
spider senses
That's my
of
room.
that stuff, like feeling like you're being watched.
That's my room for everybody else.
Yeah, that storage room out there. If that door is open at night, I don't know. It gives me a weird feeling.
Yeah.
That's why I always keep it
I had the
closed.
weirdest experience. Like a few weeks ago, there must have been skinwalkers watching me or something because I got to walk to the forest line to get my truck to leave. It was pitch black. I felt like something was staring me down. I didn't want to leave. It must have been. It was something in the tree line. I have to go right up to that tree line to leave.
Well, you know, there's an old house up there.
Oh, there's 2 old houses up there.
Yeah, that's terrifying. It's like
What kind
2
of
old
house is
this?
foundations.
it's like just old foundations
Behind
up
my
above his
house.
Ah,
Chase metal detected there once. You can find like railroad spikes in our yard.
The word metal detected. Yep, that's metal. There's metal there.
he
It's like,
detected.
Didn't pick anything up. He just said, "Yep."
Did you guys ever use like a metal detector?
No.
We have 2.
We have 2 of them.
no, I didn't.
It's kind of fun, but not really.
I think it's all right. It's fun until you find like a penny and 2 nails, and then you're like, "This is boring." I haven't even made my $150 back yet.
I haven't
real-
found any.
That's what I
guns
always
yet.
thought. I thought if I got one as like good investment, I'll find so much rich, valuable stuff. I'll pay it off in a
Yeah,
week.
do you think people just leave rich, valuable stuff lying around unless it's like a war zone?
When I
No,
was,
they don't.
yeah.
I
They
have a
take their
story
good
of that.
stuff with them. They leave their
No,
nails
they
and
lose
pennies
it 'cause
behind.
they're stupid.
So like,
Unless
I'm-
you find someone paranoid enough that buries the stuff.
That's a good point.
So
Yeah.
like, I opened up my Trans Am and I was like cleaning it out, and I like took the seats out, and I found this gold earring sitting in there, and I'm like, wow. So I sent a picture of it to my girlfriend, and like, I got the vibe that she thought like I was cheating on her with somebody, and that's where the earring came from. Because I was like, yo, is this earring worth anything?
You
I just
didn't
ki- I
ask,
just
hey,
killed
did
a
you
hooker.
leave
You
this in
didn't
my
ask,
car?
Oh, is
You're
this
like, is this
yours?
worth
I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna pawn
Well,
this
there's like a
earring.
little bit of mold growing on it from it being in there for so long,
Maybe she left it in there for a while.
What'd she say? She's
Maybe
like,
she
oh,
has
that's mine.
moldy ears.
Mold ears. Maybe she wears molding earring.
I don't know.
Moldy
I
earrings.
don't know. I'm
It's
just.
to deter for thieves. If
Or
it's
is-
not worn for more than an hour, it starts molding.
Yeah, but I thought that's the whole point of like silver. It doesn't mold.
That's like gold and silver. Yeah, they don't tarnish or something. Gold doesn't rust or corrode.
Or silver is like antibacterial or something.
It might be sterile. I don't know.
I think that's why.
I can't imagine like what kind of properties silver would have to kill bacteria instantly
dude,
on it.
Whenever you find like a silver fork, just be like, oh no, it's safe, and just eat with it. Don't
No,
even
I
care
don't
if it's
think
washed.
it's antibacterial. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't like lose its finish or something though.
That's probably it. Like with like water, it's unaffected by like water and.
Yeah.
Does gold rust? Can
No.
gold rust?
No, that's kind of like the
Probably.
big thing about gold is that it doesn't corrode or anything.
I see. But, going back to the conversation, but like, Connor, you don't have a spot that you like get the weird feelings from, like you're just in the
No.
area and it's like,
Doesn't work when
have
the
you
only
ever been
rooms you're in is
scared
room
by
and
something
bathroom.
that like you have no reason why it should? Like you're just
I
in a
mean, like-
room and you feel this like sense of dread.
Yeah, and then I pull out my AR and I pop off half a mag down the hallway, and then I'm like, well,
You
whatever's
can't
down there's
shoot a
dead now.
ghost.
Your mom's there like, Connor, did you find your AR again?
Mom, you don't understand. There's skinwalkers down the hallway.
We might have talked about this before. Can you get like ammunition blessed by a priest and then shoot ghosts with it?
I don't know. The hardest part about that is finding a priest that would bless your ammunition.
There's that
I
one
can-
picture.
I feel like
There's
you
that
find
one
one around
picture
here.
of the priest going over the weapons. You know
Yeah.
exactly which one I'm talking about.
No, I was thinking
I don't know
about
if that
the
was a
squirt gun
joke or if
priest.
that was like an actual
The
priest
best
blessing
picture of-
weapons.
No, that has to
Quarantine
happen
picture?
in like Eastern Europe.
I
and the
could see it. Like it looks like an
Orthodox churches.
Eastern European Orthodox. I don't know. man.
Every Galil is blessed. Every Galil is blessed by a Jewish rabbi.
I don't know any like good Jewish phrases. I mean, like if they were
Shalom.
Islamic, I'd say inshallah, brother.
Shalom.
Shalom. That's just hello.
Shalom.
What do they say? Like
Goodbye.
no. Whenever they're talking about God, what's their word for God?
The Jews?
Yeah, the Jews.
Abba.
Abba. Abba be with you.
Bro.
See, that's
Bless
like
your
Bro,
weapon.
listen to ABBA. God, the Jews are just listening to ABBA
Dude,
albums
they
the whole
haven't been
time.
worshiping God this whole time. They're worshiping the band Abba.
I thought it was Abba.
No, it's Abba, because the whole
Oh,
thing
is it Abba?
is that it's like the easiest word for a child to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Wham. Wham's pretty easy
Wham?
to say.
How
No,
about
you,
just
you think like a baby doing gibberish? They go Abba, Abba, Abba.
Oh yeah, Abba. Wham.
Wum. Dedicated Wum.
Abba, Abba, Abba. 6 million. Abba.
You never hear like okay, do they? So Abba is their thing. So like, in order to say like the praise be Abba, how would you say that?
I haven't
pretty
studied
sure, I'm pretty sure
Hebrew.
Yiddish is very similar to German. I mean, in like vocal, not. It's a completely different written language, but written alphabet.
It's like a what do they say?
Wouldn't Yiddish have to be related to Hebrew more than
I'm
German?
pretty sure it's like I'm pretty sure Yiddish and Hebrew were like the same language, just with
So Yiddish is
different-
like halfway between Hebrew and German.
maybe.
I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie. I never knew. I didn't know Yiddish was a language up until now. Like, what's the main idea? with
Clearly, you
Yiddish?
don't know your enemy.
Dude, I look at like I look at the Yiddish alphabet and I'm just like it just looks like scribbles. Like the Russian alphabet is like recognizable mostly.
Except
Yiddish
like
alphabet
the
is-
characters are like inverse. Like you see a consonant and you're like, yeah, that's a consonant. No, that's a vowel.
It's so bizarre.
Like the things like written languages like like seeing Arabic and Mandarin, like those two languages, like written down for me. I'm like,
Dude.
there's so much time spent like writing Mandarin down.
Mandarin and Japanese aren't even languages. They're just scribbles people wrote down on a piece of paper, and then they all pretended to understand what
It's
it
like
said.
psychology. It's like psychologists. Someone just makes something up, and then they all pretend to agree, so
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
look dumb.
It's like, yes.
Of course it says. Despite making up 13% of the population.
Yes. Childhood
Yes, of
has
course. This is a
simulation in the
6-digit
butthole region.
hentai code.
Did you guys know about that? That was honestly a theory I learned in psychology. It was like kids go through these phases of interest, and like it starts like with the mouth, then it's like their butthole, and then something else. But it's like weird, and I'm like, I don't know. This is weird.
They're exploiting babies and turning them gay. Is what
And
you're
like
saying?
psychology, it's like stimulation points or something. That like you'll notice like your kid. I guess they'll like they'll want to put things in their mouth
And
at a
then-
certain age.
What else will they want to put things in?
I don't know. I don't remember. what
Like
it
the
is.
LGBT teachers finding out their kids are in the butt
Stage
the butt
3.
stage. Holy shit! Now's my chance to shine.
Well, what do we got on the list today? That was a good.
I was trying to lead into the
What shoe
Kamar
would you
Deban
be?
pass, which I got confused for the Dyatlov pass.
You want to
So
talk
the
about
Kamar Deban, I'll just go through it quickly.
it? Okay.
Kamar,
Ethan, can I just say on the sidebar that you're looking kind of swole today?
what do you mean?
You look swole.
I have a sunburn.
You look swole though.
That's about it.
You look more muscular. Are you lifting?
No, I have a sunburn. I told you that.
Okay, but you look swole. Okay, continue.
Okay, so the Kamar Deban pass, 1993 incident.
Ethan, have I told you your arms look a little sunburnt today? Have you been lifting?
Wait,
Wait, what do you think swole means?
No, I'm taking what you said and
Oh,
turning it
okay.
around.
Okay.
Retard.
okay, so
Okay, I got you now.
7 people.
I think
What the hell happened to that water bottle?
I think swole means
It's a water
sunburnt.
bottle, Brooke.
Yeah, but like it looks like somebody sat on it several times.
But I've refilled it like 20 times.
That's what
Okay,
happens
that
whenever
makes
you
sense
reuse
then.
a water bottle.
That makes sense. Okay,
I
continue.
gotta
God,
get my money's
Please finish
Anyways.
finish about the pass.
Nice.
It's $1. If it's
Yeah.
probably a 75-cent water bottle.
Yeah, I
Dude,
gotta get
but do you
my-
know how many times he's refilled it? Think of how much money he's saved.
Saving money by refilling your
Dude,
water.
listen,
Are you buying the plastic
Spend-
or are you buying the water?
you're buying the lettering that's on the plastic wrapper.
That's depressing.
I think bottled waters are like airsoft BBs. They come from the same place. They just have different names on them.
Oh, okay. So like Elite Force and okay, we'll continue. So
Yeah. So the
Where's this
1993
at?
incident-
So about plastic water
Kamar
bottles.
Deban pass.
microplastics.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention to
Kamar Deban Pass. Again, a very experienced hiking group goes into the mountains. And then what happens is the
Why is your War Thunder play button green? Mine's red.
because
co-
that's
you're
Steam, not the
colorblind.
War
Oh, yeah.
Thunder launcher.
Yeah, I was gonna
mine's
say.
red on Steam too.
Well,
Shut up. Just get back to
Okay,
the
continue.
pass.
you're colorblind.
You're autistic.
Okay, so it's like I think it was like a hiking class. So there's the very experienced teacher person, and then 6 like slightly less experienced but still very experienced students because it's like an advanced thing.
Yeah.
And he was one of the students, like just keels over, vomiting blood. Teacher runs over to see what's going on. She starts vomiting blood, and blood starts pouring out of her eye sockets. Okay, and then like they start coming back. She starts yelling, "Okay, run!" But then they start falling over, and one person managed to get away. And she didn't say what happened for 30 years or so until someone interviewed her. And she said, "I didn't say this before, but no one believed me." That's what she said happened. And then Wendigoon gave a very, very plausible explanation, I'll say, about what it could have been. The region was used to test a very fast-acting nerve gas that was pliable to water, and it was very foggy that day. It had been raining for days before, so it would have flushed the gas down into these valleys where they were.
So they would have been. So pretty much the humidity in the air would have
Yes.
impacted their. Dude, that's terrifying.
And then as they get closer together, because of course you would draw the humidity together,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you get closer to someone, it draws it together, and it's a very small amount of the gas will kill you pretty much immediately.
It's kind of how nerve gas works.
What government was making this stuff?
The
Soviet Union.
what? Nothing?
Oh, well, it was in
This
Russia.
was in the Soviet
Oh.
Union.
Okay,
I
that
see.
makes sense. I thought you were meaning it was in like America, and I'm like, that sounds weird.
Wait,
you
didn't
think the
Soviets
U.S.
fall in
is
92?
91?
90. Okay,
What?
well this is
91 or
91.
92? It wasn't
93.
93.
91?
1991, yeah.
Look
okay.
it up
It
real
was the
quick.
year of that
check
Metallica
that,
concert. That's all I
actually.
remember.
I thought it was
What?
the year Bad Out of Hell 2 came out, but I was wrong.
Yeah, it was 91. That was when Black Album came out. It was that
Okay.
year. Anyways, so it was the nerve gas is by the Soviets, but this was of course after the Soviet Union. But they were covering all that up. This is all just to say I confused Dyatlov Pass and this whenever I was texting you earlier.
I was just thinking about it. 93. Like
It's 91 or 92. 93.
91 or 92.
When
like,
did Putin
that's not
gain
long
power
ago.
in
In,
Russia
like-
for like the first
I
time?
thought it was
around
like
there.
the
At least 99 and
mid-2000s.
after. There was some guy before him.
Well,
He
yeah,
was a
no.
vice president.
Gorbachev was so cool. He had Russia as a birthmark on his forehead.
Okay.
Like he was born
Maybe
that
not
way.
exactly, but
Then he like put a McDonald's in Russia.
2012.
Didn't
he
The
did.
first commercial in
No,
Russia
that's
was
no,
Gorbachev
president.
that was
drinking
his
a Pepsi.
second. That was his second time because he was president, and then his term he finished his term, and somebody else took president.
2000.
He switched over to like chancellor or something.
Yeah, and then he kind of did the whole.
And
Actually, I
pulled
have
a
unlimited
switcheroo.
terms. Haha.
I am the Senate.
Grant emergency powers.
Okay, if there was any world leader, like just a world leader hunting you down with like say a revolver and like a knife, who would terrify you the most? Because to me it would be Vladimir Putin. Like him hunting
Dude,
you down,
he's like
you'd be dead.
65 years old.
He was
I can-
ex-KGB.
I can walk faster.
He's
than him.
70.
He's probably some.
Did you saw him shirtless riding a horse?
That
No,
was
he-
a
I'm
propaganda
gonna say
photo.
Okay,
Finland's
listen, he
prime
still rode the
minister.
horse.
Or can we be
Alright.
sure about
Did you
that?
ride the horse shirtless, Connor?
Okay,
I
Connor,
don't
you're there
think
running
so.
away because you do
Ready?
track, and then here comes Putin riding on a horse with like a cavalry sword, just decapitated right there.
Classic sword.
Like imagine Kim Jong Un running at you with like a spear. That wouldn't be very menacing.
Why?
He'd
Do
be
you think
waddling
Putin can
at you
even
with a spear.
climb onto a horse anymore?
Yes. You
He
look
has
at that
people to do
man. Like
for him.
how old you say he was?
He's 70 or something, right?
He's almost
Check-
80, I think. He's
Yeah,
60.
He's an old.
He doesn't look old.
He's
though.
like 79 or 69.
Because
I don't remember
yeah,
which
no.
one it
Do
is.
you really think he
Actually,
goes out there
69.
without makeup on to try and make himself
Yeah,
look
but,
better?
dude, like
He's
even then,
69.
He has.
He's
Yeah.
69
Okay.
years old, and like just like his physique, you can tell he. I mean, he doesn't like heavily
He has
train.
he has facial surgery.
Yeah,
Does
no,
he have facial
all of
surgery?
that. I
Look,
think-
if you look at his pictures from the 90s, he has like really droopy eyes, and he
about, like-
doesn't anymore.
Any world leader when they were young and in their prime hunting you down.
oh well, yeah, no. Putin kind of, if he's in his prime.
I don't know.
Oh,
Donald
yeah,
Trump
he
in
was
his prime
a,
would be a wild card. He'd be on cocaine,
Be like,
just going at you.
Actually, was Putin a field agent or was he just
I
he
thought
just
he
a desk bureaucrat?
he did both, I think. He what he.
At the
Literally,
same
you have
time.
you have the wi-
It's hard to tell. It's the
he got
KGB.
he's got his self-sealing like handgun.
KGB career.
Do you know about that gun? I don't remember what it's called.
Wait, a self-sealing?
Yes, it's so cool. The bullet goes out, and then immediately after the bullet leaves like the casing seals off. There's like a piston inside of it, so none of the gas escapes from outside the gun. So like you're just leaving pressurized casings because that's where all the gas is still inside the casing. It's
Okay, so
really
what's the
neat.
purpose of that, though?
You don't put a suppressor on it. It's just a quiet.
Oh, so it's
handgun.
already...
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've heard it's about as loud as a clap. Now whether that's like a soft
Yeah, it says
golf
he was
clap
a
or like
field agent that served undercover in New Zealand.
I see.
So he very easily could have influenced the outcome of the Lord of the Rings movies, like their production.
Okay.
Look up that self-sealing pistol. I don't remember what it's called. I feel like I should though.
What year was he born?
52.
The Russian self-sealing. I don't know, man.
He was born in 52. Wow.
I feel like Teddy Roosevelt chasing you with a blade. He'd probably get you.
Andrew Jackson. I'd rather have, I don't know, Teddy Roosevelt or Andrew Jackson coming for you
What, who would
What
you
about
choose?
Finland's prime
I
minister?
don't know. Andrew Jackson. Like,
Finland's prime minister.
Who's that? I can't remember who that is.
isn't that a woman?
Yes.
Oh wait, is it that morbidly obese woman?
I win.
No.
No.
I was just making a joke.
Oh, I was thinking of.
Yeah.
This is the woman that was saying I'll stand up to Russia and join NATO.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like their health
No.
minister. You know who I mean?
Was that Finland?
I don't know if it was Finland.
I thought that was
It was, like,
Norway.
a morbidly obese
That's
health
probably not
ministry.
felt.
And
That
she's
might
like,
be like Denmark.
maybe it's Sweden.
That
All those
makes sense,
Scandinavian
too.
countries kind of blend together.
Yeah.
Although I don't think Finland is considered Scandinavian. Are they?
I hear that
Ye-
like
Yeah, they're right beside Sweden. I
like,
think they are.
people
Denmark
from
is.
Norwegia like look, or no, it's Finland. People from Finland look down on Swedish people.
They're the Finnish are like Swedish, but
Finnish.
yeah. You know, if Finland and Sweden united, their country outline would look like a dick and balls. Like
Guys, I
like
know what we must
perfectly.
Yeah. So it's the PSS was the gun I was talking about.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Scandinavia can broadly refer to
I think
include
Iceland.
Finland and Iceland and
Yeah.
the Faroe Islands.
Well, what's on
Iceland
the current
falls
events
under.
this week? Because I'd like to talk about a current event. And I
The
can't remember which one.
Buffalo shooter was a big
Um,
one.
What was the word on his front site post?
What
I
was he
honestly
looking
couldn't
at
read
on his
Oh
phone?
yeah, it could.
Yeah.
Could someone look that up?
Pull it up.
No, I
I'm
saw the
joking.
N. It looked like an I. I could not read the rest of it though.
my
Could
God.
some of the viewers
Did you
please
hear
comment
about the
what
essay?
word he might have written on his gun?
The essay he wrote in high school about how he would strategically shoot up a place. He did a whole essay on it, and they called the cops, and the cops,
that doesn't line
reviewed
up
it.
with what they're saying. They
And-
said he got radicalized in a few months.
That's
no,
the thing.
that's not
So
true.
he-
No,
this-
he's been radicalized forever. And then the police were like, "We can't do anything. He didn't really threaten. It's just a how-to basic
Freedom
on
of speech.
If you look at what he believed in, he didn't believe
It was
in,
the Great Replacement, right?
Well, there was that, but this is the darned part. He believed in gun control. He was
Yes.
authoritarian left, is
Oh.
actually what he was.
He
believed
said his
in
reasoning for the
communist.
shooting was to detail everything about his guns because he
I-
wanted everything that he
yeah.
used in the shooting to be banned.
Yes, his entire purpose. And then in the articles they wrote about him, they said that
No, hold
the
on.
bullets were ricocheting off of his armor. So like, the ex-cop pulled out a 9mm shot, and the bullets were
yes, I did see
ricocheting
that.
off the.
Did you
body
see the
armor.
video? So he goes and he
I'd
shoots.
assume he
I
was.
was about to bring that up. Did anyone here see the video?
I did
Yeah,
not see.
yeah.
I saw the video. First person he shoots is a white woman, which does not line up with the idea that it's entirely racially
know,
motivated.
like,
Another
I-
side
Then he goes
note.
into the story,
I
in
saw
the store,
on the news.
shoots.
The victims came up and they showed 5, and they showed 10 people. Okay,
Yeah,
how many victims were there?
I didn't
12,
keep
I
count.
think
There were 12 victims. 10 of the victims
12,
were black.
10 black.
2 of them
white.
were white, right? But they on the news they only showed the 10
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard
black
about that.
But
victims.
he,
They
he
didn't
went into
show
the
the 2
store
white victims.
shooting
I-
people, okay, and then he comes around to the checkout thing. You know what I mean? There was a guy on the ground behind the checkout thing. Guy puts his hand up, yells no. He yells
Yeah, I was
sorry.
about to bring that
I
up.
was like, dude, that has to be a CIA handler.
I was
I
about to
don't
bring
know,
that
man.
up. That's what I was
the
gonna
guy-
say
The guy
next.
sounded genuinely scared for his life.
Wait,
Sorry.
Well, yeah, the
Yeah.
handler would be like, yo,
Yes,
no.
No, he
you're
just
not
walked
supposed to-
past. He just his gun was at
Was he
him, and
white?
he's like,
He was
Yeah,
white,
yeah, he
but
was a white guy.
you could clearly see the first person he shot was white. This was not racially. There were 2 reasons given for why he chose that place. That it was black, or that they couldn't get guns there, which makes more sense. Because if he was only going after black people, he would have only shot black people, which he did not do. There would have been more black people there anyways because of the diversity of the area.
Did you watch everything?
He went
going
there
leading
because-
up to the shooting. Did you watch him pull in and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And you kind of notice how he missed his parking spot, and he's a little flustered about that. He kind of goes into a spot and he says, "Oh, somebody's in my spot," and he tries to turn right and go through the parking lot. He's like, "Oh, I just got to do this." So he pulls into another spot, turns around, and comes back, and then just kind of hops out. I think he was kind of. I feel like he'd be very nervous going into that.
if you were gonna do
And I
that,
feel like you just
and
kinda-
you
just kinda
sat there and
started
said,
shooting
"Oh,
into the
somebody
crowd
took my
pretty much.
spot," If you
Yeah.
plan
I'll
your
wait till
parking
next
spot,
week.
that's really suspicious. The entire thing. There's people. Here's the thing. There's people on the left calling him a Republican. There's people on the right calling him a Democrat. The dude was just. He was
Is
off in
anybody-
the
It's
head.
Has
conflicting.
anybody found his manifesto? I
Yes,
keep
I've
trying
read
to
it.
read That. Okay, send
It was
that to me.
It was copy pasted from so many other things that I've seen on 4chan. Like it was not original, and it's basically like
Are
if
you
you would
sure
take.
that's like the real manifesto though, or is that just like a?
It's the one that all of the news outlets are posting
See, like that's the thing
screenshots
I'm
of.
worried about. Like, whether
That's the one that they are pushing as the
Yeah,
real one. That's
yeah.
what matters. But it was just if you would take like every stereotypical right-wing manifesto and put it into a bot and say, yeah, generate.
this.
That's exactly what would come out.
So, do you think that it's? Would you guys be more inclined to say that the whole thing was a setup, or would you be more inclined to say that this happened and they said, "Well, let's make this manifesto, keep him hush, and we'll push it and spin the story this way, as a means to do it." You know what I mean? So it's
The
not so much
manifesto
a
came out
false flag, but it would be more of
beforehand.
a. It would be more of a convenient.
I talked to someone who said they were friends with the guy who sold him the body armor. So this was like obviously planned out on his part, whether you'd say it was government, but like he planned it up for a long time beforehand. So this couldn't have been just this freak thing happened and the government just had a manifesto and everything
Do you
ready
think?
to go.
But this is what I was meaning. Do you think they knew it was going to happen because he was on so many watch lists, and they were able to like they tapped his house. You know, they had all this like they had eyes on him all the time. They said this guy is the one that's going to be able to go and push our message we need. You know.
Either way, that
definitely.
doesn't change the fact that the government knew about it and set it up to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they actually had someone in there with they actually had a CIA handler in there guiding the whole thing, or they just kind of subtly nudged him in there from the beginning. But I think they directly did it. I think this was the most blatant false flag CIA execution of American citizens we've seen in years.
This is how I feel on it. I think when you look at like what the FBI, like all the facilities the FBI has, all the capabilities it has as an organization, like the NSA, all these different government organizations, and you look at some of the tragedies that happen and how most of the time it comes out that there was key evidence indicating that this would have happened, and they knew it might have happened beforehand. I think that alone, all those times indicate that either these organizations are not working properly at all, and they cannot work, or that they are intentionally not working.
Yeah, if the CIA isn't this malicious organization that is intentionally trying to kill us all, then they are just incredibly incompetent at their job and they should be abolished either way.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you look at it, the CIA is the enemy,
Yes.
either by them actually being malicious and directly trying to kill American citizens, or just being so incompetent that they get us consistently killed.
Well, you look at like their kill list, MK Ultra. You know, they put drugs in so many people's
In
hands.
Ted Kaczynski,
They gave him
Point
drugs.
said
yes,
industrial
he was part
society.
of
Was he
those
part of
trials.
MK Ultra?
He was part of MK Ultra
You
trials.
told me that before. I didn't remember that for some reason. But yeah, he was like him. Like there's all these people that like go wacko, and you're like, well, when you look at it, it's like, well, no wonder they did. The government was giving them drugs the whole time that altered their mind.
I've also, I read World War Z like the past year.
You read the
I
zombie
haven't
book?
read that in a
Yeah,
while.
it's a good book.
Okay,
good
so
book.
what's
Yeah,
the
so-
main idea? Why are you bringing this up? Colin?
Because there's one of the sections in it where the CIA, a CIA operative, is like one of the main characters that he's interviewing and stuff. And the CIA talks about how like a lot of what they did wasn't stuff they actually did. They just needed to appear to be the boogeyman because otherwise people would be more confident and able to, oh, I'm going to hurt America.
Oh, I see.
Right? So they said, we are the CIA. We are omnipotent. We are always watching, stuff like that. I mean, I sent the whole PSYOP propaganda video
Yeah.
to the Discord. It's a similar idea to that, where a lot of that is just a PSYOP saying, don't even try to do this because we are watching there. We're the ones pulling your strings and all
Meanwhile,
that kind of stuff.
The
It's
CIA
really
is just a
interesting.
bunch of Discord mods.
Yeah, no, the CIA is pulling your strings by
This guy's calling me
telling
kitten.
you
What
that
should
you're
I
the
do,
ones with
Chief?
strings.
Puppets.
Nuga's house.
Go along with it, Colonel.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I don't know whether I believe it or not, but
Yeah, but they had a heart attack gun.
yes, that's actually kind of cool.
And then they
Had
they equipped dolphins with these heart
Dude,
attack
Jay
guns.
Stark got heart attack gunned.
Did you know that?
What?
That they put heart attack guns on dolphins.
I did not. I saw the heart attack gun. I did not know about the dolphins.
They were training dolphins to go and shoot people with guns in harbors.
Hunter has to go.
Say,
All right,
everybody
see you
say
guys.
goodbye to
Too
Hunter.
late for me.
Goodbye, Hunter. Hunter.
Goodbye, Hunter.
Hear them.
Bye,
See you.
Yeah, shut it off.
No, just sit it on the.
Well, Hunter, it's been an honor. Have a good night.
Thank you. I'll be back next episode.
He'll come back.
Okay, but they were actually trying to equip dolphins with guns to shoot.
Why?
Because there
Shoot
was
the
The
frog.
idea
man.
was that like the dolphins would would act as like escorts for submarines.
like if you had a ship in your harbor, and there was like say you were parked in like a foreign harbor, and somebody wanted to go and inflict massive casualties to a multi-million-dollar warship, they could go down and put bombs on the bottom
Right.
at
It's
night.
the frogmen or whatever they were called, right?
Yeah. So like they could do that.
Oh my God.
So the
Dolphins
Navy would
versus
have these
frogmen.
dolphins that could sense you in the water and then swim up to you and shoot you with a gun and just swim back, and they get like their anchovies or sardines or whatever they'd get, and they'd be happy. They'd be like, and
Make dolphin squeaking noises after shooting some Soviet spy.
oh yeah. There's look up CIA dolphins with guns.
That'll get us on a watch list.
CIA dolphins.
Yeah, like there's this really weird photo I saw, and it like the dolphin has like red eyes or something, and has a gun strapped to his side. Nah,
That one has a gun on its flipper.
does it?
Yeah.
It might be a camera. Look up dolphins with guns. That might come up.
How much of this is like 100% true, and how much of this is a meme?
No, like they got rid of the program because they realized they were like, yeah, this isn't good. They tried to do it with sharks originally.
Like that?
That's just really. That's just
There's no
Photoshop.
Photoshop involved in this at all.
I don't know where the dolphins are.
This is the most real looking one.
They have like an anti-aircraft gun mounted. Maybe
know
if
what
you
that
put
is.
like government dolphin or Navy dolphin program, maybe, I don't know.
Yo, that dolphin has a Tavor.
Really?
Yeah,
I
it's
missed
the
it.
one on the right.
Yeah, I don't know. They were I'm almost positive they were putting the heart attack guns on the dolphin.
That doesn't make no. There's no way. The heart attack gun fires a pellet of ice, which is designed to lodge inside.
Yeah, I think they were
of
just
you.
putting the underwater guns on dolphins.
mean,
don't
yeah,
think they
so
were
there was a
putting
gun
heart
that
attack
like
guns on
if underwater and it hit you, it
The
would cause you to
Soviets-
like your lungs to explode or something. It was like terrifying.
What?
I don't remember.
That sounds more like a
Look
like
up
a-
Navy dolphin.
like a sonar on steroids.
It was like Navy dolphin.
And when we saw the one with the cameras, do you think you're just like
Top secret.
misremembering the?
Yes, if I type in top secret, it'll give me all the information.
This
Yeah,
is
right
how
there,
hackers
right.
work.
Inside the secret military program that uses dolphins as weapons.
Yeah, no, they use them as surveillance.
I have to
No,
pay to
like
access the rest of
weapons.
it. Putin deploys top secret dolphins.
What?
This
I think this
seems-
is a
Seems
satire.
very reliable source.
Yeah, but like I swear they were using them. I don't remember where. You guys ever heard of Dark 5?
No.
Watch their
I'm gonna
watch his
guess it's
YouTube
some-
channel. It's incredible. I love that. It's like he does like top 5, like something. Like he used to do it just text, but now he like talks.
Top 5 times the CIA has tried but failed to weaponize some type of animal.
No, that is one of the episodes.
Really?
I'm almost positive.
I mean, they did it with pigeons at some point. It wasn't the CIA, but it was some group who did it with pigeons to guide like
They have
missiles.
to be doing it with dogs.
Well, the Russians
Yeah, because
tried.
acoustic kitty. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an acoustic
There's
dog.
the acoustic kitty, but you're trying to tell me that they were so retarded that they
We
didn't
can't train
decide.
cats. We're scrapping the idea. I wonder what animal we could train better than a cat.
Goes back to the theme. The CIA is either malicious and actively trying to kill us all, or they are just unbelievably incompetent.
I think it might be both because like
Yeah, it's
right
probably
now
a
the
mix of
Pentagon
both.
is funding this militia, over in like the Middle East, and at
What
the
else
same
We've
time,
been doing that since the 80s.
What else
Well,
is
yeah,
new?
but like the CIA is funding one militia, the Pentagon's funding the other militia, and that
What was-
militia is fighting each other with.
What was Operation Fast and Furious, where they shipped a bunch of guns to like the cartels, Mexican cartels?
Of course they did. Of course, it's like, you know what? I think the cartel needs more guns.
So
way
they
they
can
won't
go
have to
fight
use
the
it.
Mexican
cartels-
government.
Some of the cartels have like M2 Brownings mounted on.
Yeah,
the
some of
back
the
their
cartels have
trucks.
full-on like technicals. Not technicals. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like,
Armored trucks.
I mean,
and
yeah,
so
stuff.
basically,
technicals.
like my idea
Yeah.
for the Trans Am,
Yes, but
Yes.
except actually feasible.
it would work. It would be beautiful.
Yes, they did this, and they actually took on the Mexican government and win in a lot of instances.
Yeah, like you can't fight the cartel. The
Wait,
cartel
what if
fights
the-
you.
What if
I
the
feel
U.S.
like in
government?
Mexico, the weapon better than than a technical is just drug money. I feel like a lot of the government didn't actually have like a shooting war; it was just a bribery war.
Yeah. Here's an idea. What if the U.S. government is funding the cartels in the hopes that they topple the Mexican government, so that we can just
The
go
United
in,
States comes in to restore
destabilize the Mexico?
Honestly, would it have been a better thing if we just held on to Mexico after we took it over? Instead
How much
giving
of it
back?
did we take over?
We took over all of Mexico. Like there wasn't a
That
spot
doesn't
of
sound right.
There wasn't a part of Mexico we didn't have, but we took Texas and California and pretty much made the border we have now. We're like, you can keep the rest, Mexico. That is what happened, like 100%.
I feel like if we would have like completely, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe the insurgents were just too much that we didn't want to deal with it.
Well, no, it was like, well, we don't really want the rest of Mexico. It's like,
If you don't just throw away something as valuable as land,
well, we took California, and it wasn't with Mexico at the time. It was with Spain.
yeah,
But that's why we're like, okay. I think
Yeah, but
that's how
okay.
Mexico got, like, pretty much.
what
a lot of its
happens? What
independence.
happens whenever you take over an entire country forcefully? What happened in Poland? They fight back, retards.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Ukraine.
So they probably just said, okay, we'll take half of this. The rest of you go relocate down to the south. I don't care. Do whatever. And then it's not their problem anymore, right?
Yeah, no, but really, I mean, they like, we actually took over all of Mexico at one point. You don't believe me?
I mean, maybe they
Look
pushed
up.
to the
Did
front
the
lines.
U.S. take over?
I
No,
think-
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that's why they didn't keep all of it.
I'm
They
saying
wanted,
that
they wanted a place to shove everybody who didn't like them.
maybe the land was uncontested for like a short
Yeah.
time, but we didn't actually have like Americans down the whole way south.
No, I mean, No, I
No,
don't think you
like,
guys are
we
realizing
might
what I'm
have.
saying.
I
We,
think he's
like-
right about this, but
Yeah.
we didn't
Yeah.
we didn't keep it. That wasn't
No,
part
no,
of
we
our
didn't keep
surrender
it. That's
We
what I'm
didn't
trying to
keep it.
say.
That's the point.
Yeah,
and that's
okay.
why we didn't keep it, because it would just be too much of a hassle to try and quell a rebellion.
It was at a point in history before the borders were actually drawn, so the land was just up in the air, and we can just claim, yeah, we had that at one point in time.
No, because we went and marched the whole way to, I think it was Mexico City. It was what's his name? Santa Barbara or whatever. Santa Anna. General Santa Anna, I think it was.
I've heard the name. I don't know a whole
Yeah.
lot about the whole.
Yeah, that was when
The
Texas
war.
was getting its independence, and we
Mexico lore.
I said war,
Yeah, the
not
lore
lore.
of Mexico.
Mexico lore. You didn't have to come.
No, but really, it's interesting.
All I know about Mexico is what I learned from Red Dead Redemption. Because you fight in like the Mexican Revolution in the first game,
Oh, do you?
or not the revolution, but like an uprising against the government.
Oh.
Or no,
Yeah,
you're
no,
quenching
no,
an
that's-
insurrection is what you're doing.
Like
isn't that one of their holidays? Isn't that actually what Cinco de Mayo is?
that's isn't
That
Day of the
was
Dead?
from their
No.
independence from Spain,
Oh,
wasn't it?
okay.
That was the one. No,
didn't
actually,
pay
the
attention
true
to
story
the
of
Spanish
Cinco de
class.
Mayo
No.
was, you see, what happened was in 1912. You know what happened in 1912, right?
No, elaborate.
1911 existed for a year.
You see, the Titanic sunk, and a lot of people don't know
when
this.
the Titanic sunk, it actually caused a very slight wave across the ocean.
No, no,
And
no.
whenever
No, you see, what happened was a lot of people
what
don't
this
know
wave
this.
did is,
but-
is it dislodged a single stone from
So a lot of
keep
people don't know this, but the Titanic was filled to the brim in its storage compartments, with mayonnaise, and that's why they were that's why they were up in the north, so it stayed cool while they were coming across the ocean. You see, after they were dropping off the people in New York, they were supposed to go down to Mexico to drop off all the mayonnaise. And when the Mexican people heard about the incident,
mayonnaise is just
they
leaking
said,
out of the
"Oh
Titanic."
my God.
It's just a trail of mayonnaise across
said,
the entire
that's the most
ocean.
horrible thing we've ever heard. So they decided to make a holiday about it. So they called it Cinco de Mayo.
I thought you were being serious about the mayonnaise for a second. I was like,
That would have been amazing, though, wouldn't
was
it?
the Titanic transporting copious amounts of
Fact check.
mayonnaise?
And was it true that the Titanic was filled to the brim with mayonnaise?
Oh,
Well, mostly false. Well, it is true that the Titanic was hauling a vast amount of mayonnaise. It was not dripping.
This post was fact checked by real K-On! Fans. True.
I'm imagining the Titanic, like they sprung a leak before they actually hit the iceberg, and it's just trails of oily mayonnaise floating on top
The mayonnaise
of
was
the
a
ocean.
secret. The mayonnaise broke open, and they were like, "Oh no, we have to stage an iceberg to make
first
it look like
false
we
flag.
sunk."
There
to-
was no iceberg. The CIA put the iceberg there to protect the mayonnaise
They
industry.
essentially drove into the iceberg to destroy the mayonnaise as evidence.
It was a great mayonnaise heist. They stole all the mayonnaise from Britain.
Yeah, that happened. Oh my God. Well, anyways, what else do we need to talk about? There's conspiracies about the Titanic, you know.
There's conspiracies
There's-
about
yeah, there has to
everything.
be.
I don't remember what it's about though, because it's pretty stupid.
Top of the
Because
list.
there was
This
mayonnaise
is a bit
in the
old at this
holds.
point, but the Roe v. Wade stuff. Do you want to talk about that, or you want to skip it since it's been a while?
What do you want? Do you want to talk about that?
I mean,
Connor?
I don't know what we really have to talk about.
Yeah, we all
I-
pretty much
like-
agree.
The precedent of the Supreme Court stuff getting leaked. That's
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
kind of
that's
that's kind
bad.
of odd.
So, like, here's the thing.
it's almost like someone had intentions behind leaking.
Why don't we
this.
care who leaked it though? Because in a way, isn't that
Yeah, no,
kind of
I do want to. I feel like treason is like an outside party. Not really.
Well, couldn't it be like, okay, so like, if you're intentionally destroying the, pretty much the borders because it's illegal to go and protest outside of a Supreme Court justice's house, right? Pretty much what they did was they pretty much put in like a big bridge in between the rest of the government.
In between the
And-
Bering Strait.
And you know what I mean.
No, I want to talk about the Bering Strait Bridge. We're completely swap.
Okay, I'm fine with talking about that.
No, I don't want to
instead.
talk about the Bering Strait
Oh.
Bridge. I was just thinking about the Bering Strait.
Okay. But yeah, they pretty much just put a bridge in between like regular government and the judicial and the justice system. And now it's going to set a precedent that I don't even know what's going to happen. You know?
Tim Pool says civil war.
He
And
says
I kinda
civil
hope
war
he's
every
right.
time somebody farts in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
He's like
Let's have a war.
Did you watch the other night's episode with that dude?
With Daryl Davis.
No. Did you watch that one though?
I watched like the first 20 minutes, but once he got to the point where he was like, because his whole thing was being like anti-racist, but then once you get into his actual beliefs, like no, he's a very racist person, but he's just racist against white people.
Yeah. No, I agree. Did you watch it?
No, I don't watch.
Listen to the Daryl Davis. You know Daryl Davis, right?
No, I have no idea.
So Daryl Davis was this he was this black jazz musician that went and he like met a couple of these guys from the Klan, and like somebody's like, don't talk to them, they're in the Klan, man. And he's like, well, I'll go talk to
is this
them.
the guy who like
He-
made
his
friends
TED
with
Talk-
the Klan member?
Yeah,
his TED Talk was
I
very
did see that.
popular.
Yeah, like dude, when he was on the Joe Rogan Experience, I was like, yeah, this dude's pretty cool. I could listen to him, you know. But like he talked to Tim, and like the entire time he's like, you know how like R.A. the Rugged Man was? He was like, before he said
not that guy.
Yeah, before he wasn't that guy, he was like Tim's like, yeah, I've been pulled over, you know, because people think I'm Hispanic, because he's multiracial, and like,
Can you even see somebody like as a police? Can you even see like who they're pulling over? Like what color of the skin they are?
I was
Yeah,
thinking
police
about
officers,
that.
they have like bionic implants. Like minority.
Black detected.
Minority detective.
It's like the Spy Kids gif.
Yeah.
Where I've detected detected. You are 1.2%
He
African.
has like the gun isn't actually picking up the speed. It's just like
Yeah. It calculates the
Enhanced
race.
amount of melanin.
It pulls up their Ancestry.com results.
right there on the spot. It's like it picks up like the sweat coming through the air, like the window was down. It's like, but no, and like, RA, he's like this white dude, and he's like, he's like, no, you're not, or you didn't get pulled over for that, and he's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, dude, you have no idea what it's like to be a minority, and he's like, dude, I'm literally half a minority, like he is half Asian,
Yeah.
and then like he's like, no, man, you don't know what it's like. And he's like, dude, I lived in the city, like the inner city. Like I was like, he was harassed by gangs and stuff. And the guy's like, yeah, but you don't know what it's like. And he's like, yeah, I kind of do. But like Daryl Davis did the same exact thing. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Now that highlights a point that we made maybe on the last episode, that there is a lot of strong racial prejudice, except it's directed towards white and Asian men in particular. So that's why Tim Pool is really having
Straight up, like
targeted.
affirmative action is like unironically racism towards Asians.
Yeah.
So you probably didn't see it in the episode, but then Daryl Mr. Davis wanted to go and do reparations. And he's like, Tim's like, I don't think I should pay for a racial group to get reparations because they have, It's like, I'd rather do a class-supported one. So if you're at this income level, you get one. That way, it actually goes to people that that need the assistance.
Yeah,
And
like,
Daryl's like,
I don't agree with what he says there, but like that definitely makes a lot more sense than all black people get
yeah, but
money
Daryl's
from
like,
the government.
he's like, no, because Asians get this or Japanese people get this because they were imprisoned by the U.S. government and they got apologized to for it. And he's like, yes. And Tim's like, yes, but I don't agree with that. He said, we shouldn't be helping people based on race.
Well, I mean, we don't still help the descendants of those Japanese
Yeah,
prisoners.
it was like
I think we
immediately
do.
after, right?
That was an
Wasn't it?
immediate thing because we took their businesses. We took everything.
Yeah, but with Native Americans, we still do.
Yeah, with Native Americans,
Yeah,
we
they
still
get
do.
tax
That's not
cuts
right.
and stuff, right?
Well,
Yeah, they
get
get
a lot
tax
more.
cuts.
They
They
get,
Oh,
get
yeah,
a
yeah,
hell of
no.
a lot more.
Yeah, but also all of like the Native American reserves are,
casinos.
well, I mean they're awful. They're horrible and run down because they're paid for by the government
And they have casinos.
and they have casinos.
No, that was just on Yellowstone. That's
No,
there's
yeah.
a casino.
They're very bad because
it's
they're all
terrible.
paid for with handouts. It's not something that they've put together themselves. I don't know.
And when
I think it almost sort of goes back to how the Native Americans didn't have a financial system even remotely close to what the Europeans had. And that's how we got a lot of land in the United States, is because
Yeah.
of deals that weren't necessarily, they weren't just taking land from the natives, at least on the East Coast, but like they were doing not even really deceptive deals. The natives just did not
They didn't
understand a
it.
financial
Yeah,
system.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't
I
understand
think that-
currency.
Well, I'm not saying that Native American descendants nowadays, I'm not saying they don't understand how money works, but I'm saying that culture has pervaded or continued into the modern age.
the problem is, like, when you look at it, like, they didn't believe that they owned the land.
No, it was just there.
They were at the time they were probably thinking like, oh yeah, they can use the land, just give us this, we don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, that's really interesting because they were like, "Oh, what? They're gonna pay us, and all we have to do is just they're allowed to use not our land, but use this land over here. We're
They're
getting
like,
money
"Oh, yeah,
for
sure."
free."
Because they had an understanding of like, this land is your land in the sense that this is your area to use, but you don't own the land itself.
Yes. That might have been a big impact, like, when you think about it. I think a lot of the stuff, like, I feel bad for, like, how, like, the Native American tribes ended up. Like, that the United States had to take over the entire North American area.
To the West Coast, I think the government was starting to get more aggressive.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that was the
just
whole
actually
idea of
taking from them.
manifest destiny.
It's
I
like-
think. Yeah.
Like, when you look at the 13 colonies, when we got to that point, it's like, that was a British colony that the British took over, and then we declared independence from it. I wouldn't say that, like, the Americans at the time did anything. But once they kept pushing for expansion, that's when it started getting,
It's because they were. That wasn't.
No, wasn't
like,
wasn't the whole French and Indian War about like going across to Ohio or something?
Yeah, but it was more so the French. So the French had a big fur trade in the area at the time, right? And they wanted to. They were friends with a lot of the Native American tribes, but the British were too. Like the Iroquois Federation, they were British allied with the British. Even in like the Revolutionary War, I'm almost positive the Iroquois fought with the British.
Yeah, it's the whole term Native American is a blanket term. There's obviously a lot of different tribes and groups among them who have different allegiances to the other powers of that time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, right.
But like
Continue.
So like they fought about it, but it was because of the border with like it was pretty much Appalachia, Ohio area. So like this was like battlegrounds at the time because there was a lot of conflict in our area, like in Appalachia. What was happening was like the Indians were going around, and they were pretty much murdering settlers in the area. It was terrible. They were scalping them, burning their homes, killing their children, disemboweling them while tied to trees. And I mean, it's total war. I get it. But there was a lot of evils back then. And it was brutal warfare.
The whole idea of like before the Europeans arrived, I had a professor who kept on spouting this like all throughout the history class, and he's like, before the Europeans arrived, the Indians, they all lived in peace and they never hurt each other, and they just kind of
He actually believes that?
Yeah, dude.
No.
He's insane.
again, they just didn't have the European ideas of war. Like their ideas were just completely different. Like they had somewhat of a financial system through bartering, but they didn't have the European model for a financial system, just like they didn't have the European ideals of what warfare was.
I mean, the European ideals of warfare was gentlemanly, let us all wear bright colors and
Yeah.
stand in a line and shoot each other. Their idea of warfare was burn their children, rape their houses, and, I don't know,
It was
scalp
guerrilla.
people.
More primal, like the
Yeah.
Vikings before the Catholic influence.
Now,
What I've never understood, though, is, like, why did their technology, like, not advance while Europe did as well? Why did we not show up on a continent that had, like, why didn't they have guns at that point is pretty much what I'm asking.
I don't think because they were still like doing the hunting gathering lifestyle. A lot of
They had agriculture,
not
but
so much the Eastern Indians, but the Western Indians on the plains. They were doing like they would follow the buffalo herds, so they didn't really
Yeah.
have an incentive to go and really.
They were more nomadic, like the Siberians,
Mhm.
which would make sense because they were they
And-
were Siberians beforehand.
You know, honestly, I think a big factor might have been that they didn't have horses.
that's okay.
Like when you think about like the Europeans had horses once they domesticated horses
Yeah, horses first came to the Americas from like a boat crash off the
in
off the
Spain,
coast.
like the Spanish brought
Yeah, the
them over.
Spanish. Yeah,
But when you look at it, like think about like back then how much like horses impacted things like agriculture. You had to have your plow pulled,
right.
Horses pulled your plow.
But I mean, it's not
Um,
like they didn't have agriculture.
They did, but it was all by hand. So you could only go to such an extent.
Did they have domesticated
Horses were like, a
oxen or
natural
something?
technological advantage that the Europeans
Okay,
had.
yeah.
That
You
they-
could
North
move.
Americans
You could pull carts.
Right.
Like you couldn't pull massive amounts of weight. You'd have to do it by person.
Plus, the Europeans were connected to the Asian continent, and that's how we got like gunpowder and stuff. We got that from
China. Yeah.
Chinese.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when you think of the
If
resources.
the land
back
bridge
then-
had not eroded away or whatever it was it ice? I think.
Yeah.
If that
the
hadn't
ice
gone
melted.
away, I think they would have advanced more
course,
akin
yeah.
to the Siberians.
Mm-hmm. And well, down in South America, they were advanced pretty well. Like
I
some
think that
of
was
their
because they
structures and
had
stuff.
gone away with their nomadic lifestyle, similar to how I think you'd say that the Eastern Indians would have been a bit more advanced technologically than the Western Indians, because the Western were still nomadic in nature.
Mm-hmm.
The Easterns were starting to settle, but they didn't have, again, the natural advantage.
It's almost like
the
in the
horses and stuff
reverse
like
they came in, like, because they
Yeah.
came across and it's like more primitive, less, and then the most advanced down. That's
Well,
odd.
it
It's
would make
interesting.
sense for the
I think it's because
Westerners.
they didn't have anywhere else to go. They were like, oh, we hit water. Let's stop here.
Well, when you think about like the Western Indians, like they had like their homes. Like there wasn't trees like in the plain region
Yeah. It
nearly
was,
as much.
of course, geographically influenced.
It definitely was. But
You need
Ye-
those trees to make your iron pick or your wood pickaxe to
yeah,
mine
it's like
stone.
you can't even mine, man.
Jeez.
No, but like when like you like it makes perfect sense why that would happen, and then like for like I don't know I have to say like everybody's like, oh well, we would be so much better off if white man never came over, and I'm like, would it?
No.
Would it actually? Because think about
No,
every single
if the
thing.
Europeans got even more advanced and then went over there, the slaughter would have been even worse.
Well,
Imagine like landing in a land where
Like, I
people
think
are-
that's why it
maybe
was...
they've gotten crossbows or something, and we're sitting over there with AR-15s.
Like, we're told whenever Leif Erikson landed in North America that it was more peaceful than whenever Columbus did. That could... I think a lot of that is just historical
Yeah, well, so
misremembering.
much of those records have been lost.
Yeah,
Like, there's
a
no
lot
way
of it
to
is
really-
lost, but also the technology would have been less advanced, so they wouldn't have had much of an edge over the natives.
Okay, yeah, they're more equal footing. I see.
like to me it seems like. Oh, it's raining.
Now it's raining.
But like to me it seems like at that stage like a lot of the terrible stuff that happened didn't have to do necessarily with just bloodshed through like fighting, but a lot of it was like unintentional, like disease. And
Yeah.
people are like, oh well, that's because they were doing like smallpox blankets. It's like, yeah, but at the time we didn't even know how that properly worked. Nearly,
Not exactly.
hardly
not
at
near as
all.
no, but people would store bullets in corpses and then added poison damage from your bullets.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I never
You know
heard
about
of
this?
that.
They would stick their bodies, stick them in like swamps and stuff, so they would decay,
Mhm.
and they would cut them open and store like lead balls in them.
Well, that's different. That's I know what you mean, but like with like the smallpox blankets, you had to people knew enough back then that they're like you shouldn't handle that. And there's only like one case where they actually used weaponized smallpox, and it was by throwing blankets in a vain attempt for like
Well,
their
okay,
sick
no,
soldiers
I
into
mean-
a camp. But that was the only recorded instance of that ever happening, and it wasn't against Native Americans, if I'm not mistaken. You know.
I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know enough about it, but
A lot of it was
biological
myth.
warfare has been around for a lot longer than what people think. Genghis Khan in his like whole Mongol horde stuff. I'm pretty sure he basically took like bodies of cows and loaded them up into trebuchets and launched them into cities to try and like get them to
Yeah, I've heard about that
capitulate.
before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, like they understood at the time that rotting stuff brought sickness,
Well,
but I
yeah,
don't
but
think
I mean,
they
there was
realized
also, there was
that,
also
like,
some Arab, I can't remember his name, but he was one of the first to have this idea that diseases are caused by bacteria or viruses and stuff that are transmitted by people. I don't remember who he's called, but it was during like the Islamic Golden Age or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
No, but like when you look at, I was meaning more of like when you look at like the Black Plague, that kind of sort. Like, I can't remember the specific year, but like in the 1800s, things seemed to advance.
The
a lot
bubonic
more.
plague was in the 1300s.
Yeah, but
So
like
it was a good way
Yeah.
well,
before.
1492, right? That was when Columbus came over.
We sailed the ocean blue.
1500. Yeah, that's when he came over. So like, you think about like the 1500s and 1600s
Yeah.
when a lot of this stuff was going on. Then like the 1700s, it's like how much medical really advanced.
I think even North America would have been more cut off from the medical advances,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to remember there was such a physical and technological gap, because like you can't move everything that you want to from Europe over to North America. You're limited by the technology of your time.
Definitely.
So I
I mean-
think that's why Europe continued to advance at a faster pace than North America until we got caught up.
And then it's like,
Right, yeah.
okay, I think we're gonna just speed run this now.
Well,
Nuke.
yeah, no, because before like there were advances in like naval shipping across the ocean, getting across that was like a month-long voyage. That was like a multiple month-long voyage. I
3
think.
months.
3
I
months,
think.
yeah.
Dude, they used to store cabbage so you wouldn't get scurvy or sauerkraut. It might have been sauerkraut. That's why the German soldiers never got scurvy, but like a lot of other people did.
Because of sauerkraut?
Yeah,
God bless sauerkraut.
it's because it has so much vitamin C in it.
I'll keep that in mind if I'm ever at sea for 3 months.
Be like, thank God I packed all this.
All this sauerkraut.
Dude, he's got 3 bags of sauerkraut.
You think
not in
about, like-
containers, just oozing out the sides
So
of
you
it.
know, like sauerkraut, some people it doesn't agree with them. You gotta think, like, imagine those ships, like when all those soldiers are like down out of oranges, and they're like, "Oh, time to break out the sauerkraut reserves."
I just hate sauerkraut in general.
Do you know it's bad luck to bring a banana on a boat?
I didn't.
Yeah, there was a boat like back years ago that I think they tried shipping bananas across like the ocean or something. There was like 3 ships in a row sink while transporting bananas. So they're like, okay, we're gonna stop.
The bananas anger Poseidon.
Was this after that myth came about?
Well, no,
Or
no,
that-
it was like that's where the myth came
Okay.
from. I'm pretty sure.
I thought you were gonna say it came from like some Caribbean
No, that,
settlement, and they were like, "You know, put banana on ship." And then this happens. They're like, "Oh, they were right this whole time."
Yeah, but then like
Well,
we were fishing one
interesting.
time, and like we were fishing on this charter boat in like the ocean. It was really fun. We were riding, and then my mom was like, "I brought snacks, guys." She opens her bag,
There's a banana.
banana bread.
We're all gonna die. She brought a banana on the boat.
Banana bread.
Fruit related myths. They used to think tomatoes were poisonous.
Why?
Because someone ate a
Because-
poison tomato.
No, okay, so
The first guy to
A
eat
lot of-
one just like was allergic, and he's like, just died.
okay, I might mix this up a little bit. Look up what pewter is. I think it's an alloy of tin and lead, but I don't quite remember.
How do you spell that?
Tin-based alloy. Looking
Yeah.
for what else?
Yeah, so I know lead.
Lead.
Yeah, tin and lead.
It says lead may be used in lower grades. Copper and antimony are used as.
It's mostly tin and lead. A lot of the silverware and plates and stuff like that were pewter. They were cheap. That was what the cheap stuff was made out of. Of course, the expensive stuff was made out of silver. And so people would eat tomatoes on these pewter plates, and the tomato would somehow separate the tin and lead from it, and it would leach into the tomato.
Can't hear you on the mic.
Yeah, right. Let's start. The lead would leach into the tomato from these pewter alloys, and people would eat the tomatoes and die of it. And so they were like, "Oh, these are poisonous. We can't eat these tomatoes because
People
we'll
are
die."
dying. Yeah,
But it was just the plate.
it happens to the best of us, I guess.
I hate it when my plate kills me.
It's like,
Wasn't there some like Swedish king or something that was very into China, like fine china, fine plates and everything, and he ate tomatoes or something as a status symbol because everyone else around him had pewter plates, but he could eat them just fine because he had these nice Chinese plates
I have no
that
idea.
did not separate that.
Oh,
I think I heard that somewhere.
while we're on the topic of dangerous Tupperware,
The Glock.
what?
The Glock started out with Tupperware.
oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Glock 1 curtain rod. No, I was going with I think it's orange glass. Orange blown glass has uranium in it. Like it used to
What?
have uranium in it.
Dude, like, is uranium just so common that it's
Wait,
just
so,
lying
like-
everywhere? They're like, let's put this in something and see what happens.
I mean it was just kind of like, I guess it was the way that they made these dyes. So I think it's orange.
So like some stained glass windows might have uranium in
Old,
them.
yes, old orange. I think is the color. I could be wrong about the color,
Sure, it's
but
not
yes,
like green. It's like you look out the window and it's like, yo, that green looks like it's glowing.
literally not how radiation works, retard. I know because I play
So where did
stalker.
that stereotype go with the glowing, like radiation?
Xenon lights.
So wait,
Xenon, yeah.
it doesn't. That's not radioactive, is it?
No, it just glows green whenever you put like electricity through it, I guess.
Okay, so that's like the neon.
No, it's xenon. Neon
It's
neon
different
glows
than-
red.
Yeah, but they always say like neon lights.
Yeah, and they're wrong because
They're
they're
xenon.
xenon lights.
Okay.
Neon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's people get that mixed up all the time. Neon glows red. Xenon glows green.
Okay. So what about blue?
Where's
I
the
don't
B
know.
in the RGB?
Oh no. Radion. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay,
That's
so
what
there's like
glows
all
green.
different elements. It's not like that. It's like a solid white glow, and they're coloring these bulbs.
No. Radion's a completely different series. Like the Radion's not a noble gas. It's a radioactive element. It was like the first radioactive element to ever be discovered, and it glows green. It just happens to decay in such a way that it spits out green visible light, and that's where the whole myth of radiation glowing green comes from.
Oh, okay.
That's yeah.
So like,
You use it. They use it in clocks and watches and stuff. So if your clock or watch glows green in the night, in the dark, it's a radion.
so did you ever see the picture of the elephant foot?
I have, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Like,
neat.
did you notice like it looks like there's electricity coming from it?
It's a real stalker moment right there.
Like, look up the elephant foot.
Stalker moment.
Like the actual like colored photo. I'd like if there's one place I'd like to like go and look at it. I'd like to see the elephant foot, but I know I'd die like within 5 minutes of being there.
What is it even?
You should specify nuclear disaster.
I'll just go to the Wikipedia.
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl.
Because we're politically correct here and we don't use the Russian spelling.
What, Chernobyl?
Yeah, we don't say
Chair.
Chernobyl.
Chair. Click on that image. I want to see it. Well, that's so much bigger.
What even is like the elephant foot made out of?
It's whatever. So what happened was the reactor.
Silicon dioxide, traces of uranium, titanium, and a bunch of stuff.
So like when the cooling for the reactor went out, it
Yeah.
like melted through the place.
Yeah. I play Stalker. I know all this lore.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Stalker. I never played Stalker. I don't know
You see,
the
you
lore.
just have to ask it, and it will grant you wishes.
Of course.
Did you ever watch River Monsters?
I
No.
want to go
He
back
went
to
to
talking about
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl.
No, but he went to Chernobyl
Okay.
to fish in the lakes there. So it's like radioactive, and he's like, it has a
I
Geiger
feel- yeah.
counter on his, like attached to his
God,
fishing
I
rod.
really want to go to Chernobyl. Like
Just
I
fish there.
no, just go there. I want to go to Pripyat.
Look up Chernobyl animals. I'd like to see some of the weird deformities.
They're
There's
yeah,
weird
no,
ones
there's
there.
there's bloodsuckers, there's chimeras, there's snorks.
Snorks. You guys remember the snorks from like the 80s?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
It
snorks.
was on Boomerang all the
Come
time.
along with the snorks. You don't remember the snorks?
No,
It was like
I
the
didn't.
knockoff Smurfs, but they're underwater.
Yeah, they have
Oh,
like
okay.
these like big like noodle-looking things sticking out of their
A
heads.
snorkel.
It was like a snorkel.
Snork.
That's why they were
Hence the
snorks.
name.
Oh, gee.
They had these snorkels sticking out of their heads.
Yeah, it's just like about how
That
looks photoshopped.
That looks
That's
real.
Photoshop.
That's
yeah.
real.
Yeah, that's
100% real lizard cheetah. Wow.
No, but there's a lot of articles about how Chernobyl was like a haven for wildlife, which I guess makes sense. 'cause,
The
like,
Red Forest.
Now,
The humans would clear out of the area
Oh,
a pretty good
I thought you were
distance.
talking about
okay, now
before
look
the
up the
disaster.
snorks.
What?
Look up the snorks.
The snorks.
Connor, I want you to tell me how weird this looks.
I want to keep talking about Chernobyl.
No, we're talking about the snorks.
Damn you.
Was that the 80s? I thought that was like 90s show.
Yeah, it was the 80s. I'm pretty
84 to 89. Jeez.
sure. Yep. It's definitely the 80s.
Yeah, no, I've never seen this.
Never seen that?
Man,
Mm-mm.
your childhood must have sucked. You didn't
Must
watch
have
the
sucked.
snort.
I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob.
Dude, that's probably for the best. 'cause
Neither was
River
I,
turned out
but I was
pretty
allowed
bad.
to watch the snorks.
You look at it like there all these parents are like, I don't let my kids watch SpongeBob. It's too random and stuff. And then River watched it like nonstop growing up. So like that's probably for the best, honestly. It's kind of out there, but like people are like, I don't let my kid watch the SpongeBob. But then they're like, okay, have fun watching South Park and Family Guy for the next 5 hours straight. You know?
No.
No.
I would think that the parents that don't want their kids to watch SpongeBob would not watch
No.
let them watch Family Guy.
No, they would let them watch Family Guy.
I think you just grew up in an odd household.
We watched Family Guy growing
I
up.
think your parents just didn't like SpongeBob.
No, we were
So
allowed
they're
to
like-
watch SpongeBob, but yeah. But anyways, what's next on the topic list? Connor, is there anything you want to talk about?
No, not really. I mean, while we were on Chernobyl, I was about to talk about that. But fine.
Go look at X.
Yeah, we can go to X.
We'll do
Because we
some-
went on to poll one time and just looked at what was.
Yeah, X is the
going on.
paranormal board of
X
4chan.
sucks though.
If you guys ever feel like
I think
asking-
X is a lot of people that are just like in on the joke of trying to write schizo ramblings.
I thought they were actually schizophrenic.
No.
So it started off that way.
There might have been like one or two, maybe like very. Like what I'm saying is there were very few of them. And now
Every
think
once in a
lot of
while, there's a
X's.
good thread.
Because like I'm like scrolling through and I'm like I want to see some like ghost footage and stuff, but it's never that. It's just people ranting about like weird philosophy.
It's
Philosophy.
about there's a lot of divination stuff.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to like they
How
need
to
make-
summon demons. There's a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to read that crap. I'm like, yeah, keep that away from me. You know. Like,
2016 theory. This is just the theory that the world ended in 2016.
okay, so what? We're in purgatory right now.
No, purgatory kind of sucks, even worse than I thought it would. I know
it-
I'm not
It's
Catholic.
supposed to be like neutral, and you're supposed to feel nothing, but like,
yeah.
wait, when would it have ended? Even like, are they saying it like in the election it ended or something?
As soon
Yeah,
as
that's what
Donald
they're
Trump
mentioning.
was elected,
It's like
the moment the votes came in.
so like there's like a presidential like infinity gauntlet, and they're like Mr. Trump here, and he's like,
No, it sounds
I
like
will
it
end
was
the world.
before the election. Well, like during the election cycle. Because it's just about how everything became politicized.
oh, so but that doesn't even make sense. It's like the world ended because everything is now political. It's like maybe we're just in a
Sounds like some like
Hard time.
wannabe writers like
Like,
short story.
you have to have it like I could see maybe during the Great Depression, like as soon as the stock market dropped, like it's actually the
I
world
feel like
ended.
no,
No, that would be more plausible to me than the 2016 election. Is that a moon one?
Where?
Or never mind, just keep going. I don't
There's
know.
a Bigfoot one.
What's it about?
The scientific reason why the uncanny valley exists.
Oh, Uncanny Valley. That's interesting. Did you ever hear that?
yeah,
It's like it's at a certain point, like
yeah. Because like I look at Ethan's speaker
Okay, so the what?
and I say that is not a person, and I look at Ethan and I say, yep, that's a person. But if something is between that, where it kind of looks like a person but isn't a person, then it's uncanny.
why is that we feel that?
Because
that's uncanny valley.
yeah, that's uncanny valley.
That makes you
Because
uncomfortable?
we're so we've been
It looks like a-
evolutionarily
The mix of a pug,
does kind of look like a pug.
a
gorilla and a
chimpanzee,
man.
and a yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to look up
We're-
Deloy's ape.
We are evolutionarily trained to recognize faces and facial expressions. So our brain needs to differentiate between what is
How does this
A
make you feel,
face.
Connor?
what.
Deloy's ape.
Deloy's ape. Wait, let me. Yeah, you misspelled. Yeah, there you go. Right there. How's that make you feel?
Kind of looks like a
Holy
monkey with a weird mouth.
shnikes, what's that photo? Oh my god. That makes me uncomfortable even. Like the old black and white photo doesn't make me uncomfortable, but when I see like that modern photo, I'm like, that freaks me out. Like, look at the arms and legs. It looks human like.
I think that's just like an art piece.
I don't think it is. Keep
It's-
scrolling.
It looks plastic. Look at its hands. Look at the face. The face looks like a mask, but it's too small to be like.
Like,
a
yeah, but
person.
look at its hands and its fingers.
So
Yeah, it
what's
looks
the
like
context
plastic.
to this thing?
Okay. What's that?
What's the context to this thing?
Oh, an explorer down in South America, he found a so they were on this voyage, pretty much going around, exploring everything. They were trying to set up for like oil or something in the 20s, but what happened was he ended up running across like one night, like these apes like showed up outside of his camp and they started throwing their feces at him. So
As
like,
apes do.
yeah, so like they pulled up and shot one that ended up being the female of the two, and the male like ran out off into the jungle and never saw it again. So like they were like, this is an ape, and apes don't exist in South America. That's pretty amazing. So like documented all this stuff about it, took some photos, but like on the way out, they had like they had the body wrapped up and preserved, but what happened was they got to a point where they ran out of rations, so they had to eat the specimen, but they kept the bones for them to take home. And what happened was there was a bad wreck in the river, and they lost like all their documents except for like one
That's
photo.
convenient.
It is convenient, but they lost all of it except for that one photo, which is what shows up when you look up Deloy's ape.
Not that one.
And pretty much the guy like came home and he was like didn't talk about it for years because he's like nobody's gonna believe me if I tell anybody. But like his colleague was like searching his house and he's like, "Wow, look at that! What's the story with that?" And he goes, "Oh, it's like this ape that we shot down South America. It's like nobody's gonna believe me and I'm gonna be like made a laughing stock, so I'm not gonna bring it up." And the guy's like, "I'll bring it up for you," and like took the photo and gave it out. And then like everyone's like, "I don't believe you." And like he pretty much like lost all his notoriety because he was like a really good geographer. But personally, I don't know what to think about that. It might be I mean, there might have been like an ape down there, you know.
I mean, you can't really roll out that it
What-
wasn't.
What year was this? Was there like a lot of settlement in South America
It was
already?
in the 20s.
Oh yeah, you said. Yeah, I think it's plausible that it could have been like an extinct species or like almost extinct at that point.
Well, did you know like the rainforest is actually planted?
I don't think that rainforest is a planet.
No, not a planet. It was planted.
Okay.
So like if you look at like the species of plants that grow there and how like they're arranged when they're growing, it's the ancient people there actually went and performed agriculture to plant said things. Like if you look at the patches, it's hard to explain. Look up rainforest.
Like the Amazon rainforest, you
Like
mean?
yeah, look
The
up
Amazon rainforest is a man-made creation.
Rainforest is man-made. I don't remember where I heard this.
I don't know where you found this either. Obviously, there's going to be parts of it, like as they.
Parts of it, I think you're underestimating
No.
what nature can do.
Yeah, but yeah, right there. Yeah, they didn't plant the whole thing. What I'm saying is like a
No,
lot
it was-
of it was.
Of course, yeah.
It
ended
was
up-
morphed, somewhat guided by the human influence.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
no,
but
it
like
wasn't
the plants
planted.
that are in there, the way they were found, a lot of them, like the beans and stuff.
Yeah, obviously they would
Yeah.
want to grow those for food.
Yeah, but not the entire forest. I
No,
mean, that would
yeah,
be
no way.
ridiculous. You know what I mean? Though? Like a lot of
would-
the
Yeah.
plants were planted in
Brooke,
there.
what you're telling us right now is that people did agriculture where they lived. This is a huge revelation.
It's like, whoa,
This
wait
is
a minute.
unprecedented.
I've never seen this before.
Okay.
What this
other-
guy's saying about Sasquatch is that like they were very common in the past, so common in fact that they bred into the human bloodline like Neanderthals did.
Okay.
The idea is just
I
that
thought Neanderthals went extinct. I thought Homo sapiens killed them.
no,
Okay.
No, that's a myth. People are like, oh, well, Homo sapiens all went and killed all the Neanderthals off. But if you look, there were actual settlements where Neanderthals were living with Homo sapien, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
Yeah. No.
yeah,
I didn't know a whole lot
They
about
just
it. but-
bred out eventually because the problem was with Neanderthals, they had trouble running. And their forests, like up north, were like
We
fading
have
out.
sweat glands.
Yeah, we have sweat glands, and Neanderthals were like very heavy boned, if I'm not mistaken. So they had difficulty. They were very powerful and good ambush, but they weren't good for like chasing after prey and tiring it out like Homo sapien.
They
was.
were heavy tanks. We were light tanks.
Yeah. So we overpowered them eventually. But yeah, it's because like the plane, like the forests back then were giving out, and like the plains were opening up. So
Well, and the main advantage that people have is sweat glands, really, and tools. But I mean, like, because we can run long distances and run.
yeah. Before tools, humans
It
would just
was-
run animals down.
Yeah, we would run for miles until they got tired and just gave up, and then we'd kill them.
I'm glad I have Neanderthal in me.
Wouldn't we all have Neanderthal in us?
We
a
do.
little bit, yeah.
Not everyone. That's the whole thing. Is that like that's the whole difference between European and African, or one of the
Asians
big differences.
have Neanderthal in them too.
Yeah, because the Neanderthals were further up north.
But they have another ancestor. I don't remember what it's called though. But yeah, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, but that's what this guy is saying that he thinks Sasquatch was just like a North American, or not even just North American, because Sasquatches were like adjacent things were apparently in.
I think Sasquatches are interdimensional beings guarding wormholes. Personally,
Of course. What other explanation could there be?
Given your personal experience,
Wait,
that seems, or the experience of an undisclosed neighbor of yours.
Oh yeah, when they saw the Bigfoot get out of the UFO.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that is true. Did I tell you about that?
No, I've never heard
Okay,
this.
so yeah, I had this, like, my dad knew this guy that, like,
The
he
story is
swore-
undecided, but the fact that he said this was true.
yeah, like, the
we should
guy's,
say.
like,
The story is undecided.
the guy
whether
swears to
Bigfoot
it
got
to
out
this
of a
day,
UFO.
but he's like, yeah, I was, there's a short in the power lines one night, so I was sent out in my truck. So, like, he drove up to the power lines, and he it was like walking up the road or something, and he looked up, and there's this UFO, like, getting, like, electricity from the lines. Like, it was sucking in electricity, you could tell. And, like after it finished, it, like, landed, and then, like, the door opens on it, and this Bigfoot walks out. And then gets back in, and, like, it flies away.
That's ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous.
Have you ever
but-
read Roadside Picnic?
No.
Okay.
What's it about?
It's about aliens.
Oh, okay.
Just no, the idea of the UFO sucking power from power lines is so funny to me.
Why?
Because okay, you've heard the saying, like, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, right?
No.
Right?
Yes.
You've
No, I've
never heard
the
this?
saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically, like, we go back in time.
Wait,
and we're
it's
like,
indistinguishable.
indistinguishable from magic. We go back in time and we show, like, some medieval peasant a computer, and we're like, it's a thinking machine. It thinks for you. They look at that like heresy, witchcraft,
It can play
work
War
of the
Thunder.
devil.
Oh yeah,
it can
yeah,
pull
I
up.
see what
It
you
can
mean.
pull up
Right.
Japanese drawings.
Oh, the Japanese drawings. That's my favorite part.
It's just crazy to me that they would associate it with magic. Like,
Okay.
by
well,
perspective, like, you look at a cell phone, it's like, yeah, it's a screen with, like,
Yeah.
electronics inside, but, like, to them, it would seem like a
of
rock
course. And now I'm
that
getting
shows
to that point.
pictures. Yeah.
It's a thinking machine that I stick in my pocket. What is this? Which, all right, so.
Well,
I'm
at the
getting
time,
to
they
this.
wouldn't even think machine. Probably, they'd just be like, it's slate.
It's magic.
Yeah,
It's magic.
Yeah,
It's
a
magic.
magic.
That's what we're getting at.
magic
So,
box.
in Roadside Picnic, basically the aliens come in and they're like, we're gonna have a picnic here, and so they picnic and they do their alien things, and then whenever they leave, they toss all their garbage off of their spaceships, and they leave zones of, like, where their garbage is. And so, how did I get onto this? Jesus Christ. So, and then there's, like, the group of people, the stalkers, who go in and they collect the alien garbage and they sell it to, like, scientists or private buyers who want to own that stuff. And then, you know, the government's obviously involved in all that. And what I'm saying here is, like, I'm using a Russian book to disprove your theory about Bigfoot getting out of a UFO.
No, I'm not saying that I believe.
I know,
Bigfoot is an
I'm
alien,
not saying.
but the interdimensional beings, like,
What I'm
now,
going
like,
to say
you
here is
talked
that,
about, like, the fourth dimension. Like, we cannot.
let me finish my thought first.
Sorry, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say here is, let's say aliens do exist. Let's say they're from a star system outside. They would have no need. Their technology would be so far advanced from us. They wouldn't need to suck power from our power lines. They would toss their technology around to the point where it seems like magic to us, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but isn't that a bit subjective? Because that's like
No.
saying, okay, so this is going to sound ridiculous, but remember in Back to the Future.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
1980s, right?
Okay.
He goes back into the 50s, right? He can still he has to use the technology there at the time to go and get back. Even in the 1800s, when he goes back, he uses the train to generate the power.
Okay.
It's like in that event where, like, it's like okay, we can say, well,
Okay, but-
breakdowns will never happen again, but we still experience breakdowns in brand
Of
new
course.
vehicles. You know, transmissions go out and whatnot. Who's to say that, like, something didn't go bad?
That's assuming that their technology was similar enough to
Yeah,
ours
that's a good point.
to be
Well,
based on the same.
Are we going to
concept.
say that, like, they're
Aliens-
held by the same laws of physics that we are? Or are we going to say that they are a completely different
See,
dimension?
those are the two different kind of interpretations that I've heard. Either aliens are going to be almost identical to humans, or they're going to be so bizarre and so strange that they aren't even recognizable as a life form,
Mhm.
if they exist. So,
Both
would
are
they
terrifying.
even... That was like the opening scene of XCOM Enemy Unknown? Enemy Unknown, yeah.
Like, that to me is just like the idea of I don't know if I even like that's the thing. I would love to know if there is alien life that has come to this earth, but I don't even know if I want to know. You know, because I
For-
can't
for
imagine
alien
like
life-
the terrifyingness, like just the horror of like seeing some of this stuff. You know, like you see like horror movie with like aliens in it. It's like imagine a xenomorph actually existing.
See, like, the thing that scares me is what's weirder than a xenomorph? Xenomorphs are based on ants, which are, normal Earth things. What's weirder than, like, read some H.P. Lovecraft. It's very odd, and it's still based upon like Earth stuff, but it gets across like a bit of an idea of how strange aliens might be.
And that terrifies me. That really does.
I'm not really the Drake equation is like.
What's the Drake equation again?
It was the equation that was like, is there alien life? And then the answer came out to be 1.5, or how many species of aliens is in the galaxy. And it came out to be 1.5. It was just like,
okay, but
Very
that's
helpful.
very hard.
yeah, I know.
It's like, okay, but where does life even come from? You'd have to look at it that way. It's like, does life
Are we
begin to
working-
exist suddenly? Like,
That's
where
the
does
idea of getting back into, is life actually based on carbon? Because if the aliens are so abstract, it completely outside of our understanding, they wouldn't even have to be based on carbon.
Okay, yeah. Like it's hard to even visualize it. Like you said about
That's
like
the
fourth
point, yeah.
dimensional, and that's why I said like
I'm not even talking about like other dimensions. I'm talking 3-dimensional, but just some aspect of physics that is so bizarre and strange to us that we wouldn't even recognize as aliens. What if these aliens are, their entire life cycle is they roll down a hill and they break apart a rock at the bottom of the hill, and then that rock becomes 2 more aliens who are then transported up the hill for some reason, and they roll back down the hill again.
I that would be interesting to see, but that would be like ridiculous.
Exactly.
It's like that life doesn't even make sense. Well,
Exactly.
yeah.
Maybe it's a very low gravity world, and they just roll down this hill for years at a time. It's
And maybe-
massive mountains.
Maybe we look like that to aliens.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what we would look like to aliens. We'd be rocks rolling down a hill.
So like, what was I gonna say? But going back to like the Bigfoot, right? So like, if you look at like the cave systems in the United States, disappearances seem to like correlate with them, right?
Okay.
Did you ever notice that?
The appearances also correlate with the amount of people
Yeah.
who own Bigfoot suits.
That'd
Have
be
you ever
funny.
seen that map?
No, is that true?
I mean, yeah, they've got a map of people who own Bigfoot suits, people who have reported Bigfoot sightings, and they line up. Like,
No, I
almost
meant like
exactly.
disappearances. I said disappearances
Oh,
in
no,
the
no,
United
no,
States.
no, not
I thought you
disappearances.
said like people that like,
No.
like the disappearance
Yeah.
charts matches up with the Bigfoot charts. I'm like,
No.
holy shit.
This is some new revelation that we've never. People
With
who own Bigfoot
well, with
suits
the
are
cave
more
system-
likely to be.
Wait, right now, we have to double check this. You got to look up the Bigfoot suit map. Is that a real map?
I've seen it. I've looked at it. I said, "Yep, that seems reasonable."
Okay, so if this exists and we line this up and it matches with like the disappearance,
Right?
this is gonna be
Well, no,
terrifying.
not the disappearance. It's not the disappearance.
It's gonna raise so many
It's just-
questions.
No, it's just it's
Wait.
just how many spottings are there.
Oh my god! Wait, what is that? What is that?
Giant snakes across the world.
Like I don't know. If I
I'm pretty
believe
sure that was the prop from Star Wars.
It's a Sarlacc pit. Okay, so that's the Bigfoot suit map or the sighting map.
Sighting map.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a suit map.
I don't know if it's true. I just brought it up because I thought it was kind of funny.
Okay, so that's the Bigfoot sighting map. Now, let's also look at like a cave map. It'll correlate most likely. So because there's so many sightings, it's hard to tell.
I mean, we can see it's definitely.
Similar.
No, I wouldn't even say similar. It's concentrated around areas. Yeah, no, look at that.
No.
Appalachia's
yeah,
really.
no.
There's more caves in Texas. There's very
There's
little
less
sightings in
caves
Texas.
on the west
Well,
coast.
that's a true point.
Yeah,
That's a good point. But like in Appalachia, it definitely correlates.
It's well,
The West
no.
Coast, not
look
so
at that.
much.
It's concentrated around population.
There's a
centers.
concentration in
Kentucky.
Tennessee. Yeah, there's some in
Yeah.
Tennessee, but the other cave map concentrations don't line up there.
No,
Your
let's-
map sucks, Brooke. They
I'm
don't
sorry.
line up at all.
I thought it was just a theory. I didn't
God.
really look at the map that much.
The only one
Yeah,
there
no, I
that
get it.
lines up
It was just
is
a
like
test.
southern or central Appalachia in Tennessee.
So like when you look at that, I always, as when I was young, I always thought it was out in the West Coast that Bigfoot was sighted the most, but it ended up being like it's actually like Appalachia that he's sighted the most in. And that's not crazy to me, because like,
well, in Appalachia, I mean, we're not super remote here. We're relatively remote, but there's still a lot of people around here.
yeah.
So
We're closer to the first settlements on the East Coast, so that makes it seem not so remote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say here is like the more people you have, keep the same percent of chance of something happening. With the more instances, obviously, the more it's going to happen. So we have more people here in a rural area, which then means that a lot of sightings are in rural areas, in the woods, etc. They don't happen in cities. So the more people in a rural area, the more sightings we're going to get, and that's probably why we have such a collection of sightings on like the east coast of the United States, just because that's where the population of rural settlements is concentrated with enough people to make that
Zoom in on
difference
Another big
statistically
concentration
significant.
In that doesn't line up with the caves, but there's another big concentration in Washington, like
That's
the very
interesting.
northern part of Washington along the Canadian border.
Can you zoom in on their area? Are you able to
Goes
click
to
those sightings?
Africa.
Well, no, I don't know why it zooms out so quickly.
Wow. There's a lot
Not
of
very
sightings.
much.
No.
No, not a
zoom
whole
back
lot.
in.
We're in like a dark spot. We'd have to go west.
Yeah, like go into our right over our area. What's the closest sighting? Are you able to select them or no?
Well, it zooms out so weirdly. Okay, we're right there.
Right there's one.
2009. No, I'm not going there.
That's interesting. Where else is there though? Is there any just to the right of it?
And that lake, 94.
So what's that mean when it says
The
your
PA
connection is private?
It just means it's not an encrypted connection.
What's
It's
this
an
mean?
HTTP.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Listen to the networks or the cybersecurity major here.
I'm not going there. That's what I'm going to say.
What
It's
happens
something
when you
about-
do go there?
This just means that the data isn't connected.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Or
So
not
so
encrypted.
whenever you
What could happen though?
If anyone,
read your data,
yeah, anyone can just
read what you
that.
send, what packets you spit out, what
Oh, really?
packets they send
Anyone
back.
on that can get that data can just.
So
read the
yeah, you
packets
can-
as-
Is there
can
any
pick
way
up-
to open that and look at it though without?
That's what encryption is.
No, that's what encryption. You can grab anybody's packets at any time. Like that's what Wireshark's for.
That's terrifying.
But the thing is that there's
That's why you're
encryptions.
supposed to turn off your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and everything on your phone if you're not using it.
But yeah, so a lot of sites are encrypted where they scramble everything before they send it, and then they unscramble it whenever they come back.
Oh, okay.
So all that
I'll
general-
check out that site some other time.
Yeah, we
It's
can look
PA.
at it.
It was some PA Bigfoot Society,
Mhm.
which I'm sure is a real organization, but I'm gonna be a bit.
Pennsylvania's actually really heavy with Bigfoot sightings. It sounds weird, but it is. I know somebody that saw it from a UFO, so that might be
Well, I mean,
Might be in there.
Pennsylvania was like the southern.
the
One of them-
south of the north.
Yeah, sure, but
What?
of the
South of the
of the
north.
13 colonies, it
Oh,
was
south,
the
gotcha.
more Appalachian
Mm-hmm.
of one of the 13, except you had West Virginia and Virginia. But we
Yeah,
got the northern
West
end of that.
Virginia's like, I've decided to become the best state in the country and like ripped out.
what?
Okay.
Yeah, West Virginia's amazing. I would if I had to live somewhere else, it would be
the
West
the
Virginia.
Did
people
they
may not.
secede from Virginia because Virginia was fighting for the Confederates and West
That
Virginia
is
was fighting
true.
for the Union?
See, that's the thing though. Like if you say like, I'm siding, I would side with the Confederates. It's like everybody's like, oh, well, you're a bad person. It's like, well, when you look at it, like I believe in like the state should have more rights than the federal government, and that like the more localized the government, the better. So like, it's a really tough decision, but like,
With the
I would-
hindsight, you can see the power that the federal government got
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the fallout of the Civil War, and that's why I have so many Confederate flags because it's like
Well, you could say
that was a
like,
big turning point in American history because the federal government was like, we need to prevent this rebellion from happening ever again. But that's what the Second Amendment is for.
Mhm.
The founding fathers actively encouraged people to violently uprise and
the Whiskey
overthrow the
Rebellion,
government.
Washington. He's like, I'm going to lead my army to fight these guys, but I don't want to fight them. So he just showed up, and then they're like, okay, that's a big army, guys. We're just farmers with pitchforks and guns. Let's just walk back home. Okay, we'll pay our taxes.
See, that's the attitude you're not supposed to have.
Washington shows up. He's like, guys, pay your taxes. Well, I guess we've done all we could do. We're allowed to pay our taxes now.
It's like, okay, you could have the whiskey tax. I don't care anymore. I'm surprised that isn't a meme. It's like libertarians. It's like, I refuse to pay my taxes. And then it's like, I don't know, like Joe Biden showing up.
Please
He's
pay
like,
your taxes.
Please pay
Fine, I'll
your
do it.
The IRS. Did you see?
Dude,
did
the
you
IRS
get that meme I
Maybe
sent
if the
you?
IRS wouldn't kick down my door if I wouldn't pay my taxes, instead they showed up and knocked on it, politely asked me to pay my taxes, I would pay my taxes.
You would?
I might. If
Okay.
they showed up and said, excuse me,
If
sir,
they were polite about
could you
it.
pay your taxes,
So-
please? I'd say, you know what? I might consider it now that you've been nice.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, I have like this a connection with this like accountant, and like I always like joke about like committing tax fraud. Like I'm like
Joke.
So like I
Sure.
joke about it, but I'm like hypothetically, if I committed tax fraud, it's like how long would it take the IRS to actually send somebody after me? And she's like, probably take like 3 years.
I feel like they would never find you. Like,
No,
You're-
they
you're-
find
That's
you.
what
They
they
know
got
where
Al
you live and
Capone for.
you're a needle in it. Well, they were looking for Al Capone. They
They
were
were-
looking for anything on Al
Oh yeah, that
Capone.
was just what they got him for.
Yeah.
It's like but like if you're like
You're a needle in a stack of needles. Do you really think you're that important?
like no, they don't. Like they might like show up and be like, "Where's my 50 cents?" And I'm
So
gonna
what
be
you're
like, "You're not
saying is
getting
I
my
just
50
shouldn't
cents."
pay my taxes.
Like
I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do.
like to me, like I think
I'm
we
just
should
giving
just
you
saying, I have-
ideas
I have
of
a-
what you should
I
could
have a
or
lot
could
more
not
money
do.
in my pockets now.
imagine how like less complex our system would be if we just had a sales tax, and like people will say, "Oh, well, you know, you need to pay your fair share." Well, everybody would pay their fair share.
We'll just make all of the taxes into sales taxes. So you look at something and you try and get like a $5
Like a Big Mac or something.
right.
It's
Like
like
it
a
comes out and it's like
For that to work, the
$70
government has to
Big
be
Mac.
aware of all the sales that are going on.
What's that?
That doesn't account for like under the table sales going on.
Well, they shouldn't have anything to do with that. As soon, in my
yeah,
opinion,
but what's
if a product is sold once, it is already taxed. It should not be taxed again.
yeah,
You know
but
what I
who's
mean?
to say where that begins? Like if you're like, I made this knife, and I want to sell this knife to
Easy knives
someone.
moment. Easy knives.
Yeah.
Easy.
Should that be taxed or not? Me as a private citizen, should this transaction be taxed?
To me, I'd say no because
Exactly, you're a private citizen. What separates a private citizen from a business?
I would say it would depend on the amount of knives you make at a point.
That's kind of like how the
That's
ATF
a
does things with
Slippery
gunsmithing.
slope fallacy.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
mean,
like you can go in and like do gunsmithing for somebody as long as you aren't getting paid for it. It's
Mhm.
really weird.
well, like maybe you
laws
could do
are
it by
weird.
like the amount of well, you know what? That's a tough one. I never really thought of it that way. Like to me, it would make sense in like the system we have now with like you.
This
you
is not
record
in
how much
defense
you
of
make.
corporations, just to
No,
clarify.
Would you prefer that we be in a sales tax and we have no income tax or capital gain tax or property tax?
I'd prefer it because it's very easy to exploit, and that's why I would prefer it.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't honestly. If I had the system set up that way, I wouldn't even exploit it. I'd be happy to pay into it
See,
because at that point, it's a
It'd be
legitimate
an honor
system.
system. You'd have people like that. It's the same as the shopping cart dilemma.
Yes. Like, would you pay into the system if it was simple, easy, and you knew your tax dollars weren't funding stupid things?
The CIA.
my tax dollars will always be funding stupid things.
Okay. Well, how about like?
Do you know how, like the Bradley was like? You were talking about the Bradley.
The Bradley, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like let's
No,
make this.
I think Mike, no.
armored
The Bradley
box.
is excellent. The Bradley is excellent. I think his name was Mike Sparks.
He was the
Yeah.
guy that wanted to make it into a plane.
No,
That was
no,
the Arrow Gavin.
no. It's not a. I've told you this like 3 times. It was like it's an M113. No, it's not even a Bradley. It's an M113.
Oh,
No, I don't remember who it was. It was the guy that made the movie about Pentagon Wars. I can't remember his name.
Mike something.
Okay, but what
I
did he do?
He wanted to load up Bradleys with full combat load and then shoot them with like anti-tank weapons, even though they're aluminum armored and only meant to stop 50 cal rounds. And he wanted to do this with like multiple Bradleys just to see how they broke.
Well, you know that the government spent.
That's what the government spends your money on. He wanted to load battleships up, full combat load, and shoot anti-ship missiles at them just to see what happened. This guy was a
It
true.
would have cost
Well,
like
like,
billions of
yes,
dollars each,
yeah.
and he wanted to do it multiple
Yes,
times.
multiple times.
It's like I could see if like they just like filled ammunition with like gunpowder, loaded up like an M1 Abrams, and like, okay, we're gonna shoot this thing in the side, see what happens. You know, shoot it right in the ammo
Yeah.
rack. But like no, it's like we're gonna shoot multiple of these like with fully expensive.
Yeah, no. So it wasn't like they were testing. Oh, what's the limits of this? How much can this protect? It was let's see how it fails. Let's see how it breaks.
Okay, so like, did you know that we spent $1 billion trying to make a flying Humvee?
I think I've seen. Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of this.
I've
haven't
never.
seen the
I
Humvee
want to
one.
see this flying Humvee because we spent $1 billion. You're telling
We
me
spent
they
$1
couldn't
billion
make-
on it. Make it happen.
We
Yeah.
spend $7 million every minute, I believe.
Oh, and how much are we sending to Ukraine?
I think
We've spent more on Ukraine than Ukraine's actual defense budget.
That's so funny to me.
I hate our system at this point. It's like I'm gonna work, lose this amount of my paycheck, and it's just going over to like some missile blowing up somebody in Ukraine. It's like
Yeah,
it
you're
used to
gonna
be the
work-
Middle East.
You're
now
gonna
it's
work
like
for
whatever.
the government to earn money for the government, and then take the money that they give you and give it right back to them. And if you work for a corporation, you're essentially working for the government. You're essentially a government employee, just from how our corporatist.
I am okay. Listen, I work at Walmart. It's good pay. I can't help it.
Yes, but you're a government employee. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
If you do anything that's taxed at all, you are a government employee.
Like, okay, but like if we went to
Dude,
the
not even
sales
beyond
tax-
that. I mean, like corporations that are that big are pretty much directly funded, or not even just funded. They get breaks. They get so many.
They're too
protections from the
big to
government.
fail. Yeah.
Too big to fail. Like GM, like freaking
Oh,
GM.
General Motors. That's why I
I
drive
hate
a
GM so
vintage
much.
Pontiac vehicle.
Yes, but
Speaking
GM as a company,
Oh,
you should hate.
well, they got rid of Pontiac. That's why I hate.
That's
them.
why I hate them, because they got rid of Pontiac.
Like, okay, they decided. You know what? I don't think we want to keep Pontiac anymore. Let's get. They were like, you know what? We can decide. We can either get rid of GMC, which basically makes a Chevy, like exactly a Chevy, except with different logos on it. We could get rid of this Buick company that makes old people cars, or we could get rid of Pontiac, which makes actual decent vehicles. It's like, let's get rid of Pontiac.
Well, I mean, Pontiac into the 2000s is pretty much doing rebadges of Australian vehicles.
Oh, the
They weren't-
GTO.
The GTO, yeah.
That thing was amazing. But it was producing 400 horsepower, 400 pounds of torque, and the thing was a beast. If they only let them import so many, but if they would have like made it more and given Pontiac the tools, that would have been so good. And when you look at what Pontiac was doing, like the Aztec, did you ever see the Aztec?
Yeah, I saw it in person.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculously looking, but it's actually a really practical vehicle.
It
It's-
was known for airbag failure, though.
yeah, but every vehicle from back then was
Just
like,
don't.
Every
just don't
vehicle from
crash.
from the 2000s didn't have airbags that
Well,
worked.
I had a Dodge Dakota that had
That was the way of
airbags that, like,
life.
it was basically like a shotgun for the passenger. Like if you hit something, like a shotgun went off and
You know
killed
what?
them instantly.
That's what I'm gonna replace my airbags with. Just
Like
gonna
a
replace it with a
shotgun
shotgun.
it's like puts you out of your misery like immediately.
Off topic, but what was that car, like in the communist bloc?
The Lada,
Maybe. I
like
don't
the
know.
super blocky one.
Communist vehicles were
I
all
don't
kind
know.
of ugly. There was one that was actually amazing. I don't remember what it was though.
No communist vehicles, amazing.
No, it was
And if it was copied from the West.
no, like this thing was actually it was bulletproof. There's like
a
elec-
BTR.
it-
My man's
I don't know.
confusing a T-34 for a road vehicle.
no, it was like look up like Russian Cold War. The best car of the Cold, or the best Soviet car of the Cold
The
War.
Yugo. That's the car I was
It
thinking
wasn't
of.
a Yugo.
No. I'm not saying Euro. I was just
This was like I remember the picture was like I watched a video of it. I don't
so
remember the name of
a
it.
BTR.
That's it right there. The
This-
glass. Yeah, that's the car. That's actually like a really nice vehicle, from what I understand. What is it?
I think I heard about this. Yeah, it was a limousine, is what this says. No, but I heard about something that was exclusively given to like generals or top people, and it was like the only Soviet-made car that had a radio.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's what I heard.
That's like you can't even listen to like government sanctioned radio stations. This sucks.
Well, it's not like the
Well,
people.
the
in,
whole
the
idea-
people in the Soviet Union didn't own cars.
They didn't have repair stations. The whole idea is that they had to be easy to repair, and that's why Varg Vikernes is all about his. I don't even know what it's called, like a Soviet-made Jeep. Because
Which
it's
is
like
probably copied off of the American Jeeps.
yeah,
you can't.
he's like this is the best vehicle ever made.
It's so
'Cause
funny
I can
to me.
repair it in my backyard.
The point of the Jeep is that it is very simple and very easy to repair. Now, you can't really improve upon a Jeep's design for that reason. It's like, well, you can. It's called a Toyota. But you know what I mean?
Sure,
It's
yeah.
like we're going to make this.
If you design something with simplicity in mind, if you try to improve that, you're going to corrupt the original concept.
Well,
Wait a second. Are we talking about the AK-12 now?
so, like, the thing
All
about
right.
Toyota
I'm not
is
gonna-
they take the same design and they use it and use it and use it. They don't change it. They'll fix the bugs, but they'll use the same engine for like decades. It's like the engine in my Tacoma is the same engine.
Yeah, but don't Toyota cars? They just work.
They do.
A lot of
That's
Japanese
the
ones are
point.
made
They
like
don't
that.
change much on
Yeah.
them. That's why, like, when you look at like the miles per gallon, they do really well on fuel economy and like horsepower and stuff, but they aren't like they're never the greatest. And the reason why is because they're like, well, we're not changing this because it works. you know?
Why fix something that isn't broken?
Exactly. But then like you know, it's like I have a twin turbo V8 just came out this year. It's like, well, great. It just took a shit on the road. It's like, yeah, my Toyota's just going to keep driving, you
Right.
know.
Well, I think electric cars are kind of neat.
Electric cars?
Electric
They're
Of
cars.
gonna
course,
go
you
out.
drive a hybrid.
I don't drive a
You
hybrid.
drive a hybrid. Don't
It's
don't-
not a hybrid.
Okay,
It looks
listen.
like a hybrid, so it must be a hybrid.
It's like it's a hybrid. Don't
It's not a
stop
hybrid,
lying to
is it?
yourself.
It's a Hyundai accent.
Yeah, it's a hybrid. Look up what it's classified as. It's either a
It's not a
crossover
hybrid.
or a hybrid.
That's the criteria. If it looks like if it looks like a hybrid,
Does it say
it
SUV?
must be. It says subcompact car.
SCC.
For the Russian market, it was the Tag As. Or no, it was assembled at the Tag,
Tag
As
As.
plant. By the Hammer plant in St. Petersburg.
Of course, it's a Hammer.
Everything Russian is a hammer.
What's the safety on it? What year is yours?
2016? I don't even remember. I bought it from my
Okay, look
sister.
up the safety of the 4th generation.
Okay.
Keck. Yeah, but let's look at the safety ratings. I want to see how
You could get this
endangered
thing
our
with a
friend is.
6-speed manual.
That's pretty cool. Is yours a manual?
No.
Okay, go
It is a
back.
6-speed, though.
What did you tell me to look up?
Oh, no, it was on the Wikipedia.
It was?
Yeah.
Jeez.
There was a link that you like put your scroller over and then just kept moving, and I was like, oh, okay. Go down. It's under, like, keep scrolling down. Right there, safety. Okay, so you're getting a 4-star in pretty much everything, so that's pretty good. Actually, wait a minute. Accent scores, moderate overlap front driver's side, got poor.
So the person driving dies. Everybody else is fine.
Moderate overlap front driver's side. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
No.
So side, if you get hit on the side, you're 50-50. If you get hit from the front, you're dead. If you get hit from anywhere else, you're fine.
Neat. I just want to hit things
Now,
in
what
the
if you
front.
get hit from the bottom?
It's like, I don't think you have to worry. Well, actually, you roll over. You're laying on your side. And you're like, I got to get out. And then like a semi-truck just hits you underneath. You're dead. Like your head's going into the roof. I don't think there's living at that point.
Shame.
How long are we going on for?
That's 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Holy shnikes. We better wrap this up, huh?
Yeah, we were running out of topics on the list. You gotta do your Tim bit.
Tim, please let us on the show for God's sakes. I don't have anything left to live for. I need this. I need
We
this so
mentioned
bad.
you.
You
7
let that
times.
weirdo on the other night. He was such a weirdo. He was like, every time he said, like, Tim said something, Tim's like, oh, here's this valid point. He was like, no. That's not what I was saying. Like, those are his exact
I mean, he
words.
probably
every
wants
time.
to get weirdos on. I mean, weirdos probably get views.
I mean,
That's why we would get you views.
We're going to get you so many views, Tim. We're going to, like,
Tim, I can be so quirky and funny and weird just for you. For nobody else but Tim.
Tim, listen, I will bring down my Mosin Nagant, and I will bring down chocolate milk, as much chocolate milk as you want.
Why the Mosin Nagant?
I was going to let him shoot it.
You'll bring down the chocolate ice cream mix.
I'll bring down chocolate ice cream mix, and let me tell you something. Gallagher's chocolate ice cream mix is the most amazing stuff you will ever drink.
Because you're not supposed to drink it.
Yeah. Like, Ethan, I made you drink it the one time, didn't I?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was very thick, very rich
Was it the best chocolate milk you've ever had?
It was
in
the
your
best
entire
chocolate
life?
milk I ever
are you
had
just
because it
drinking,
wasn't
like-
chocolate milk.
Straight ice cream mix.
Oh, God.
It's so good. You don't
Okay.
drink much of it, or else you get diabetes.
Yeah, he
You
handed me
don't
a shot
get
glass
diabetes.
he handed me a shot glass of this ice cream mix. He was like, "Drink it. It'll be the best thing you've ever drank."
In a shot glass.
Dude, it's like, if you look at it, it's like 400 calories in a cup. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah,
Dude, I could just live off of that. How much fat is in it?
There's a lot. That's the problem.
Yeah, I figured.
But like, it better a lot of fat than a lot of sugar,
Why?
because sugars are worse for you.
I've never heard that.
People will tell you that, but that's not the case. Sugar's terrible for you. Honestly, if you go completely, you should always go for sugar-free rather than fat-free, because what they do with fat-free stuff is they up the sugar intake, and sugar's terrible for you.
with sugar-free, they use the artificial sweeteners, which are known to be carcinogenic too.
Well, sometimes.
Everything.
Sometimes they use fat to increase the flavor. So
Yeah.
you should look.
Plus,
for
like diet sodas
Fat
and stuff,
tastes good.
or
That's
the
what I'm trying to
sugar-free
explain.
sodas,
It's
they
good.
taste like
It is better.
fluoride.
Mhm.
Diet soda tastes like
I
fluoride
didn't
to
know
me.
what fluoride tastes like.
It's
Have
in
you
our
been
It's
to a
in our water.
dentist? Have you been to a dentist?
Yo. No, never been to a
shoot
dentist.
your face with pure fluoride.
I wonder if like straight, like pure fluoride has a taste.
I would.
'Cause I know like
inject-
pure water doesn't have a taste. All we taste are like the minerals and imperfections in it.
Okay, but anyways, Tim, please let us on. We will make your show interesting, and we will not disagree with you on every single thing that you say, like some people do, and we will actually bring a decent debate to whatever you want to talk about. You know, I mean, if you want me to like be like, you know, I don't know.
Tim, I will do whatever you say. Tim,
please,
please, just let us. Please. Oh, Tim, please.
Honestly, I
Tim.
just want to meet my heroes, and Tim, you are a hero.
Tim, I'll put on an SS uniform and you can pretend to interview a real nut.
It's like,
Wait, we're not pretending to be Nazis.
it's like I will wear a Soviet uniform and pretend to be a communist if you.
We'll have a
really need me to.
debate.
The entire time, like we just start like we get a topic and then like we start speaking in English, but then as time goes on, we just start screaming in like German
Russian and German.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, and like I have a Makarov and you have a like a Walter. Like
See-
at some point we just like aim it at each other and then like we just sit back down and holster it.
Have you
Like,
seen Hitler's PPK?
no.
Real quick before we're done.
You had a PPK?
Yeah, he had a PPK.
I don't remember what a PPK looks like. Oh,
James Bond gun.
that was around back then?
Yeah, it's like a single stack fixed barrel.
Did he have the
Walter
gold
made
one like
those?
that?
Yeah, no. One of his generals had a gold one. He also had a gold one.
I thought that was a Russian. Wasn't that based off the
No,
Makarov?
the Makarov was based off of the PPK.
No joke.
Yeah, the
didn't know
Russians
that.
stole just about everything. The AK is based off of the M1 Grand.
And then the Lorsen L9 was in turn based off the Makarov. It's incredible how the world works.
I mean, the Tu-4 bomber was based off the B-29.
Okay. there has to have been a gun at some point that was like all the guns were based off each other, so it's like which one came first.
It's just a circle.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, okay, here's the interesting thing. The charging handle on the FAMAS, I don't know if the AR-15 was the first one to do that. But, you know, the original AR-15 charging handle was below the carry handle.
Yeah,
Trying
yeah.
to point to you. Yeah. FAMAS has the charging handle below the carry handle. But then they swapped the carry handle, or they swapped the charging handle on the AR-15, but the FAMAS came later after that had already been swapped, and they looked at like this old AR-15 and were like,
Looks decent.
I think we'll stick it under the charge.
Well, it doesn't even make sense why you do that, you know, because then like you have a glove, like a thick glove on for like winter combat.
See,
or something.
they fixed that with the FAMAS. It's a much bigger gap.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because like the one in Black Ops, I remember, it was like a real slim.
Yeah, no, that's the God, I can't even remember what it's called.
Was it like a prototype version?
No, there's
An improved version?
God, no. So yeah, there was the F1, there was the G2, and then there was the G2. I can't even remember. There was a specific word to describe it, and as soon as I'll remember it in like 10 minutes, and we'll be past something.
Alrighty. Well, let's wrap this up. Make sure to like and subscribe this podcast and
On
if you
YouTube
wanna
and
hear-
Rumble.
On YouTube and Rumble. If you want to hear more,
After we got into the CIA, that YouTube might ban us.
I don't think so.
But Tim Pool trusts Rumble, so we're going to trust Rumble too.
we trust whatever Tim Pool says.
Guys,
If Tim Pool says send money to Russia right now to fund Ukraine, I will be like, okay.
I just love Tim Pool.
Yes, if Tim told me to donate my vehicle, my only mode of transportation to Ukraine, I would do it. If Tim Pool told me to.
I would do it 100% of the time. Even if Ian, we don't talk about Ian much. You know that?
I want to meet Ian. He's my hero.
Is he your hero?
He is.
I'd like to meet.
I don't
Sheena.
agree with him on a lot of stuff, but he's just a cool guy. I
He's
mean,
just
look
out
at him.
there. He's like,
With his
I was being
abacus.
overly sexualized by the Hollywood community, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I listen to the podcast sometimes, and like Ian starts talking, I'm like, oh, that's a good point. And then everyone's like, shut up, Ian, stop talking.
Yeah, they
And I'm
really go unfair on him. Like with the cuties thing, he was saying how there is a legitimate case to be made for freedom of speech regarding cuties,
Mhm.
and they just didn't listen to what he has to say.
No, I
Like-
I think it's terrible.
No,
And
the
like,
thing with cuties is that they were exploiting children
they're
in
minor.
Yeah.
to be able to film that. But like if it was animated, I wouldn't have any problem with it because you're not actually exploiting minors in the creation of that.
yeah,
It's purely artistic at that point.
and I think Tim agreed with him, but like, it
He
was
agreed with him, but he didn't let him say what he was trying to say.
Yeah, it was like, okay, he's like, yeah, no, you can't say that. He's like, they had every right to do that. Oh yeah, and then like they got kicked off YouTube the other night.
Oh my God, how long does it
Didn't see
take for
that.
you to wrap things up?
I'm
This
sorry.
is
I'm
like a
sorry.
3 hour
That's part of
podcast.
the gimmick.
Yeah, so like, but Tim they got
This
kicked
is
off
the
because
last
the
time-
guest was like, he said the F word, and then like they're like, oh, we're gonna shut this down, and then they wiped out all the super chats. I tried getting a super chat the other day to promote the podcast, and it wouldn't let me get it.
Like the donation.
Yeah,
You're gonna pay how much money just to
like
just
$10.
You make what, $30 an hour at Walmart?
Yeah.
That is a
And-
third of an hour right there that you're spending.
I don't care. It's like it's going to Tim Pool.
Timple, I would give my firstborn to you. Timple, please. Just my firstborn daughter, my secondborn son, whatever you
Okay.
want.
Let's say theoretically that like we do get on Timcast, and guess who's in the other chair? Like guess who the other guest is?
Demi Gloom.
No,
Oh God.
I was gonna say, imagine who it would be just sitting there.
I don't even know how.
I'm gonna
I've
give you a
never
hint.
watched.
Samuel Hyde.
NASA.
The entirety of NASA. No, Alex Jones.
Who wears
all of
NASA
NASA.
clothing every time?
Alex
he's-
Jones.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Imagine like Alex Jones is the other guest. I'd be like, this is gonna.
It'd be an honor.
I would.
I want to hug Alex Jones. He seems like a guy that would hug you if you go in for it.
Dude, 100%. Like I feel like honestly, like he would probably put you in a headlock and like choke you till you like
Like the-
were on the
like-
verge of like passing out.
Like
and
he
then
did to
go.
Count Dankula.
He did that.
Count
too?
Dankula used that for like his outro in all his videos.
What?
Alex Jones has him in a headlock.
I never knew that Alex Jones put Count Dankula
You
in
don't
a headlock.
watch Count Dankula.
I
jeez.
don't. No, I don't.
Guys,
Okay.
have you watched Insert E Celeb here? Guys, I love it. I love this guy. He's so cool and I really I like it. He's cool.
Really?
Yeah, he's incredible. Okay. Okay, Jesus Christ. How long does it take to
We're going to wrap this up now.
Goodbye.
I'm going to turn this into an ASMR now. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast. Is this audio still coming through pretty good, even though I'm in a whisper?
Yes.
Okay. Have
really
a good
eating
one,
the
guys.
microphone? I think it would be fine.
Make sure to support your local Arizona tea.
Support.
Buy Arizona tea. It supports the economy. It's the only thing that remains stable. Honestly, we should. No, don't cut it off. Don't cut it off. I was gonna say, I just got a great idea. I just got a great idea. What if we were to make our currency in Arizona because it's the most stable thing in the country?
It's not stable.
Why
it just
isn't
went
it?
up in price.
It's always $1. It's still 99 cents.
It's always $1. Does that mean
You talked on the last episode. You spent like a half hour explaining how it went up by like 50 cents, and you were outraged.
That's only at Sheets.
That wasn't even Sheets. That was Turkey Hill.
Yeah, at Turkey Hill too, but like those bigger gas stations. But like I swear, like most
but hold
places
up,
are only
hold up,
99 cents.
Hold up. If it's always $1, doesn't that mean that it's losing value?
I don't know. I don't
It
know.
would be, yeah.
Maybe, but it's stable.
Which means
it's not moving.
constantly.
Maybe it
No, it
is.
is.
Yeah, it would be losing value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, would that
Retard.
be a good idea to?
No, that's a
make
horrible
it
idea to
currency?
invest in that.
It's like okay,
Do
but
not
like,
invest in Arizona.
Is it the
Arizona
fact-
sucks.
No, wait. Is it the
The
fact
state and the tea.
that maybe it is stable, and the problem isn't that the tea?
No,
is
it's not
rising.
stable.
The problem
It's
is that the
literally
US
everything
dollar is
else
unstable.
It's
rising.
literally not stable. If you absolute spurg.
It's but they're doing everything they can to maintain the
No,
level
oh my
of
God.
cost.
If it was stable, the price would be rising as inflation goes
no,
up.
they're just making even more supply of it in order to balance it out. Because Arizona is a great company, and they're like,
That is not.
We're
The
not gonna
CIA
let
is
this-
plotting against Arizona.
Arizona's the last holdout for true America. The tea, not this state. Where's Arizona tea even from? Are they from Arizona? Or
No,
is it
they're
from-
don't
from
know.
they're from like Wyoming or
I was
something.
gonna say, it's Oklahoma. Or wait, what's the state that doesn't exist?
Wyoming.
Yeah, it's Wyoming. Okay, guys, we're gonna
We gotta
wrap this
end it.
up. Goodbye,
Jesus
everybody.
Christ! All right, that's everything.